This week's Jigs and Bigs intro has been brought to you by some shitty Skynet AI app that Joe has. Proceed to oblivion, the fleshy ones.
Are you getting yourself ready for our show?
Welcome to the Jigs and Bigs podcast, the show where we talk all things fishing. I'm your host, Bobby Roast Beef, and joining me, as always, is Sean the Fisherman, and who the fuck is Joe Brown? Whether you're a seasoned angler or just starting out, we've got you covered. We'll be sharing tips and tricks, discussing the latest gear, and of course, telling plenty of fish stories. So grab a cold beverage, kick back, and let's dive in. Magic. It's absolutely magic. How we doing, Joe, Sean? How's everything?
Hi,
everybody.
Hello.
I hope you guys like that AI intro. That was very odd and silly, but we made it happen, you know?
Well, for those of, everybody who wasn't in watching that shenanigans as it unfolded, usually I write out the intros for the show and I try to be snazzy with some sort of quip or whatever. I don't hit home runs all the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I was completely blank today, and I said, anybody got any ideas? And Joe said, well, why don't we do it like my wife's work does? And brought out an AI app. So thanks to the Joe's AI app that wrote this wonderful intro that Bobby just read.
Fabulous.
That was completely vanilla, and definitely a robot wrote it, but we're good. I didn't have to do the work today. I'm pretty fucking psyched.
It worked.
It worked. Good job, Joe.
Robots in disguise.
and all of a sudden, we have a new voice.
We do. We do have a new voice. And it's terrible.
I must admit, Joe, I'm a little disappointed. You haven't caught on to something yet. It's been what? This is episode 3 or 4 that you've been on?
Mm-hmm.
All right. When the intro music plays, even though no one can see us but the jig heads, you're supposed to dance. I don't know if you haven't picked up on me and Bobby headbanging. We just do it naturally. We headbang. When it punches in, we do that. You know, we're doing all sorts of shit.
Okay. Good to know.
Right. Good to know. Guy. There's your OJT for dancing during the intro. Got you.
I'm ripping my shirt off and everything next time.
It's going to be crazy.
Give this man a raise.
Pit Viper's on. He's going to be taking over for old Pepperoni Nips Jake's there is what he's going to be taking over for.
Yeah.
Oh,
excellent.
Man. I'll tell you what.
Down that hole already.
I want to throw this out there. It is officially fishing report season, and it is really kind of refreshing to have that group text like firing on all the cylinders now. You know, it's early, so now everybody's all catching up and stuff and all this stuff. But it is really kind of nice and kind of refreshing to have that going on back there. And I gotta tell you, we gotta start out big. You guys all know that our fishing report is written, tailored, edited, all by Cheryl, Northeast Wild Woman. She is like an absolute savage in the outdoors. Like, she's amazing. And we are amazed with her. But apparently other people are amazed with her too. And I don't know where she was last night, but in that chat, Cheryl shared a picture of her and Tom fucking Brady.
I saw that.
Like, legitimately. So we're going to call this, for the fishing report, we're going to call it the Western Massachusetts Fishing Report post-Giselle era. Because who knows where this is going to go. This could be great, you know?
And we should also make the disclaimer right now that the fishing report will be posted depending on Cheryl's social schedule with retired NFL Hall of Fame quarterback, future Hall of Fame quarterback.
She might be out right now teaching him how to, like, you know, get ready for turkey hunting. You know, I mean, this could open up a whole new, like, line of activities for Brady. Think about it.
That's right.
I wonder if she can get him on the show. I wonder if we have that kind of connection where we could get Tom Brady on the show.
Let's hope.
Cheryl, you know, I mean, I know your skills are pretty amazing. We could get Pepperoni Nips Jakes on the show in a second, but can you shift that a little bit for Tom Brady? I think even good old Pepperoni Nips himself would agree that having Tom Brady on the show is probably a good move. That's it. God. I've decided it's happening.
Cheryl, book Tom Brady.
I'm not even a sports guy, but I'm like, let's do this.
Oh my God.
What a week. Like, an amazing week. It was nice to, you know, just have my regular work schedule, kind of, you know, the Monday through Friday events and all that stuff. I did make some time this week to go out and fish with my buddy Paul, and I got a good one for you guys. It's story time. So, your boy so I had gone out with Paul last Wednesday. We had said, oh yeah, we're going to go up to Wachusett. And the real, like, driving force for going there was going to have lunch at NOLA Cajun Kitchen, like right in West Boylston. It's awesome. It's amazing. And that was kind of the push. So we're like, we'll go up that way. We'll see what's going on. You know, conditions sucked. Not a cloud in the sky, minimal wind, you know, a gust here or there, but for the most part, like, sustained winds were pretty minimal at best. And it was pretty chilly, you know? Well, your boy and I, we roll up to this spot, and let me actually pause for a second there and back up about a week. This is on Wednesday. So the week prior, I realized, I was like, I'm searching through my inbox looking for my fishing license, and I realize I never purchased this year's fishing license. Like a complete dipshit, I've been riding dirty all year.
You went fishing in this state bareback, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I did. No leaders. No leaders. Yeah.
Watch that shit.
So I decided, you know, like a responsible human being, I would immediately get my fishing license, and thank goodness I did, because we had a situation where we're fishing at Wachusett on Wednesday, the very, very tail end of March, and a very friendly EPO comes up to us. And I mean, no, I'm being funny about the situation. He was very, very cool and definitely did not want to be like the asshole, but he comes up and he's like, how we doing, boys? Everything going good? Well, it's okay. Be nice if they were biting, you know, is, of course, what I usually follow with anytime somebody stops and says hello. And he says, have you noticed maybe that nobody else is fishing here? And I respond to him. I say, yeah, I kind of chalk that up to, like, you know, the conditions are not ideal, and it's Wednesday at, like, you know, 9:40 in the morning. And he goes, well, it's actually because the season doesn't open until Saturday. So I was like, oh, I was unaware of that. I'm sorry. You know, I didn't realize that. And I had gone back in my records and looked. Yeah, I've had fish there in April, the earliest. So I had never, tried to get out there this early before. Totally ignore the fact that there was anything, any type of a season there and an opening day. And I decided, after, had this nice discussion, that we would just reel up our stuff, pack up, and go find another spot. In fact, I had asked if there were any other places with decent bank accessibility that would be good to stop and fish. And he really didn't have a whole lot for me. He did list off a handful of places. Some of them were a little bit too much of a drive because, remember, the primary focus of this trip
was NOLA's Cajun Kitchen.
We were not going to stray from that. It was not going to happen. So we decided we would just kind of utilize Google Maps, find a couple of areas nearby, fish a couple of different spots. Totally fruitless, but I should back up a little bit because that EPO had rolled up about 40 seconds too late because I had hooked into the biggest Laker I've ever had on a hook and got this Laker to the bank where he shook right off. And actually, this was on a drop shot on this week's Bait of the Week. We're going to be talking about the Hellamite. So this was on a Hellamite, and I'm like, wow, this is great. This is fantastic. Shakes off, swims off, and I'm like, son of a bitch. I let off this long string of curse words at maximum volume, as one would do. And it just got bad. It got bad fast. And I was so glad that that EPO didn't see any of that. Because who knows what the fuck could have fucking rolled out of this. And I am so glad that I had a week prior had that little moment of clarity where I was like, wait a minute. I forgot to do something important. Something very, very, very important. And I got my license all squared away. So that could have been just a big downward spiral of a bunch of stuff. In fact, I think Paul was so excited just to actually be checked for his license. He had his phone out and was searching already. Absolutely unbelievable. But what can we do here, you know? What can we do?
We can stay out of jail in numerous ways. We can stay out of fines from EPOs in numerous ways.
We'll do the best we can with this. Jesus Christ.
That sucks, man.
I gotta also, I'm curious about this because I've talked to other people too. Like, if the state were to create like an ongoing subscription for your license where it would an auto renew, you know, is that something you would consider doing in your home state? I mean, I definitely would.
Well, I think Mass has a lifetime.
Oh, that might be why they don't do that. Yeah, because there is a lifetime that you can just purchase. But it's like, I think that...
Yeah, it's what is it, like $400 or something like that?
Exactly. So it's like, you know, it's basically doing your license for the next, 12 to 15 years or something like that. But you're good for the entire... Like, I get why they have that, but if they didn't auto-renew, like, I'm surprised the state of Massachusetts doesn't think about like, oh, well, we automatically renew on these and boom, we're just... There are plenty of people who I think would do it. Even before going to the lifetime, because for some reason having somebody just say like, yeah, just take $35 from my account every year, or somebody saying like, oh yeah, it's $400 one time and I don't have to pay again. That's a split room. Some people are just like, yeah, I'm not giving up $400 immediately. 5 years from now, I might not fish or whatever, which is, of course you're going to fish 5 years from now, unless like something fucking terrible happens to you. You get hit by a bus.
Right.
You run off,
everyone up in arms.
Yeah, maybe you run off with Tom Brady after some kind of an event.
Maybe you go into a giant river during the spring flow with a wreck kayak and some jeans and a sweatshirt. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible, and it could have a terrible outcome. So maybe that's why you're not going to get that lifetime fishing, license or lifetime out sporting license. I think that's the other thing too with that 400. I think it is a sporting license where it's all of it. We'll look it up. We'll find out for sure.
Yeah, I'll look it up while Joe actually Bobby, you got something else. You had something else going on too. You want to talk about that now too, or?
Oh Jesus Christ! I totally forgot what I was. Well, there's actually a couple things. Today I had gone out with a friend of mine who has a regular at my trivia events and shot some content. We did a little Hot Ones like tribute kind of thing, which was absolutely awesome. We had a great time with it, whole lot of fun. But I got wrecked by the Da Bomb. Da Bomb it killed me. We put it last in line. In fact, he made 3 sauces. I hand selected 3 that I had before. We were looking for flavor, uniqueness, and then heat. And nothing on the table came anywhere near Da Bomb. It was ridiculous. So we had a good time with that. That was a whole lot of fun. The other thing I want to talk about this week, and this is kind of nuts. So, like, I've been watching the weather really, really close the last couple of weeks, and I'm basically just looking to see when that warming trend is going to come up enough where I'm like, yeah, it's go time. And we're close. We're go time on the kayak, like very, very, very close. So I decided that this week, because we're kind of getting a little bit closer now, and I'm looking at what I've got available for time to do it. I mean, it's probably going to be like more toward like late April when I'm able to actually make a send. But I had gone and I have these rubber tarps that I put over my kayak in the winter. And I gone and taken those tarps off and they get snow all over them and they're ridiculous. And there was no snow obviously on them for a while. And I take the tarps off, and I noticed that my trailer, like with the way my kayak sits on my trailer, it will normally sit like nose up, nice and even. I'll put a bucket on the back to kind of hold the back end in place. And so, because it normally wants to tip backwards so that the nose points up. And I'm like, wait a minute, why is the nose pointing down? So I go and I grab, I check in the storage cargo area that's in there, and there's a little tray that kind of drops into the hole that's created for your storage. I take all that stuff out, and I found a shitload of water full in the front of my hull, like crazy. So what I had done was I took a 1 gallon container until that was too large, and then I went to a 1 liter container, and then a small like 20 ounce water bottle, and I used that, got rid of all the water, took a big sponge to get rid of the rest, and it's good to go. I mean, it's fine, but I did find the culprit. I found this little in the little tray insert that goes in the cargo area, so that way your stuff isn't like all over the hull. There's a lip that comes over the top like this. And right at that corner edge, there's a crack about 2.5 inches. And when it sits, I'll bet you with the weight and the pooling of any snow that's dripping off the top, that's dripping through the tarp, because this tarp is not the greatest. It's not the best piece of equipment I should be using. There's a couple of holes there. I'm thinking that is just slowly dripping right into that crack and filling it over time. So I haven't ever noticed this any other time, but I think last season, I think it was the same thing, because I brought my boat down and it was for the rudder over at Three Bells. And I remember Derek called me the next day, was like, dude, your hull is full of water. He's like, what the hell is going on? And I think that's it, because all summer long, there was nothing. Once he told me that, I was really, really, really consistent with checking it to make sure that it wasn't taking on any kind of like mass amounts of water. And it was fine until I saw it here. So I talked to Lauren over at Three Bells. She is actually taking a look to see if they have anything in there that I can use to rectify the situation. But in the time being, I've just something I got to keep an eye on. But quite the discovery. Yeah, not fun.
And when you mentioned crack, just so you know, I went, oh shit, where's your hull cracked?
Yeah,
it's just kind of the way that thing sits. It's kind of a natural. There's an opening, and that's if water can seep in there, that's what happens. So I understood that now.
Which is interesting too, because like the wiring that I have for the electronics is my batteries. I store the batteries in that cargo rig, because Nocco batteries are so small. They just tuck right in there. Everything that's ever been in there, like the wiring and everything, is bone dry. But underneath that tray, and that's what it is. So like that wiring comes in through the hull, and it's suspended over it, but it just goes right around. So that like tray never really sits flush. There's a little bit of an opening that there is the potential for water to get in. So I think that's just what it is. So I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. If and I know, because they don't make the Titan 13.5, I have a feeling Native won't be able to help me whatsoever, which is okay. That's fine.
Yeah. It's
just one of those things that I have to monitor and just kind of keep an eye on. And I think it's probably going to be more of an issue when we come out of when we're going into spring versus any other part of the year.
Yep. And if Native can't help you, you know who can? Dun, dun, dun. Three Bells Outfitters.
Well, yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I have a little bit of, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know about the parts. We'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. Who knows? But
yeah. Lauren will work magic. It's what she does.
It's true.
I got some follow up here. So there's a little bit of chatting going on with the jig heads right now between, particularly Chrissy and Binya Outdoors. Yep. So Chrissy's pining for a multi-state license. I think all of us in New England would love that. The problem is that's 6 separate states. There's no way they're going to be able to split that revenue properly.
Yeah,
because it's just Mass and Connecticut are going to sit there and go, more of our people are buying licenses. We're not splitting this up. So it would be a fight. I wish it would happen, but there's no way. Meanwhile, I looked up the license fees on the DCR site.
Yep.
For Mass, and I was wrong. There is no option for a lifetime. I thought there was, but that led to a search of, well, who does have one? New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming.
That might be why it's so much on my mind, is because when I got my Tennessee license, there was an option for a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, maybe that's why that makes sense.
6. So out of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Out of those 13 states, I've over the course of my life gotten licenses in half of them. Yeah. So there's my confusion, but that's all right. At least we know where, if you live in those states, good for you guys. You get to buy that lifetime. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Although that said, I mean, Massachusetts doesn't have one available. I think this is a good move to just like an auto renew. Just make it a checkbox when you do it online. You're like, oh yeah, you want to auto renew? Cool. Boom. This is what we're going to do. Well, you have to create an account anyway.
The problem with that is the amount keeps going up.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, but there are services. Netflix keeps going up. And that's an auto renew. You know what I mean?
But Netflix sends out a notice before that happens, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they have to email you the PDF of your license anyway. They could send you a notice.
Oh, yeah.
All of these things are a possibility.
Yeah. So for now, though, good for you guys in the Big 13.
That's awesome.
We're jealous. Very jealous. Joe, what'd you do this fucking week, man?
Yeah, so let's get started. So first things first, we'll talk about the little man, the little incident. So one of the twins. Yeah, we'll go with that first. We'll start out when we'll end it on a high note. So as you guys saw, the gash he had going through his entire eyebrow. So he's at school going to catch a football, kind of looking back, and ended up going head first into a chain link fence. And I don't know if like one of the burrs on the metal cut him or something, but it literally was his entire eyebrow. Yeah. And I mean, it was deep. Like I was waiting to see some skull in there. So
when you mentioned that, I think my comment was, I'm pretty sure I can see his brain.
Yeah. It was, I couldn't. And it's funny because, with the twins, one of the other twins like fell and like scraped up his hand last year. And they're like, yeah, you gotta come check it out. He might need a stitch or two. And so I go there that time and I look, I'm like, oh my God, like I'll give it a Band-Aid. It'll be fine. So it's kind of the same routine. They called us and they're like, yeah, we're thinking he's going to need a couple stitches. So I tell Meg, and I was like, yeah, I'll head up there. I'll go grab him. I'll take a look at it. I go there. She takes the gauze that she had on there off. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, we need to get you to the hospital now.
Yeah.
So we, where we live, we can kind of go head out to the western part of the state, like where you guys are. We can go to Worcester, and I try to stay out of Worcester whenever I can.
Yep.
So I decided to go to Palmer. I walk over to Palmer. We check in, and as we walk into the waiting room, it was literally standing room only. I couldn't believe it. Like there's probably 30, 35 people in front of us. I was like, I look at Jeremiah, and I was like, we're not doing this. He's like, I'm fine with that. I was like, we'll find an urgent care. Let's hope that they don't send us back here.
Yep.
So I go up to the window. I was like, hey, listen, I'm not going to wait this long for a couple stitches. We're going to go down the urgent care. And she looked at me like I was the biggest fucking asshole.
Oh,
like degenerate parent for doing that, for pulling him out of there. So now I'm getting judged by her. Jeremiah's laughing. He's got blood running down his face. He takes it like a champ. We head down to an urgent care in Wilbraham. We get there about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and she's like, "Oh, well, we kind of do like appointment based, so I can get you in here like 4:30." I'm like, "Fuck." So now, like, I'm not going to go back home. So we literally just chilled in the truck. But yeah, we went in there. The PA stitched him up. He got 9 stitches on the outside, couple on the inside. It looks, it's literally, like I said, it's literally down the center of his eyebrow. So I've been calling him Tribrow last couple days. But so yeah, so that was shit. What day was it? That was Friday. And then yesterday, I did something I've been waiting to do for a couple weeks now. And I went and picked up my boat finally. Went up and went up to the storage, picked her up. It was kind of a nightmare because the way he had it set up was it's like a big warehouse, not a warehouse, but one of those big metal storage buildings, and three or four big bay doors. And for some reason, he had my boat in between the bay doors. So, and I was like the only boat in there, and it's all like very expensive cars that he stores over the winter. So here we are trying to maneuver my boat like crooked out the fucking doors, like around I was telling Bob, I think one of them was like a BMW M6. The other one was one of those Challenger Hellcats.
Oh,
we're just trying to maneuver that thing out of there. It took us like 45 minutes. And then I had the twins with me because we did like a Cabela's trip and shit, 'cause it's up in that area.
Of course, yeah.
And so brought that home. Got home last night with that, and today was a lot of just going through it, checking everything, make sure everything's solid from being stored. I was lucky enough; it was a climate controlled storage, and I was able to just have the charger in the whole time, so I didn't have to winterize anything. So just put some fuel stabilizer in, and started putting my gear in.
Nice,
Getting
that's
ready
awesome.
Awesome, man.
Reunited with the Skeeter.
Finally.
It does feel good.
Yep.
It's magic right there. Oh my goodness. Watch, I'm gonna get a copyright claim with it should be short enough, and I made sure to tie it in, so it
That's
makes
right.
sense.
That's
but
right.
Very good.
yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. I'm psyched for you. That's huge. It's a big deal. You know?
Yeah. Now I have to like get right into pre-fishing. So, cause I got tourneys coming. So
Hell yeah, it's coming. Fucking tournaments coming all over the place. I had this week. I got an email or a text rather from the one and only Ryan the Butcher Bogley had messaged me, and he was asking about some spots out this way for bank fishing. And I was like, yeah, I got a spot where you're going to be. Go check the spot over here. He managed to catch a couple of dinks. Said it was like painfully slow dragging a drop shot, but he was able to get it done. Mm-hmm. And then he was telling me about a tournament he had coming up that had like almost 70 boats. And I'm just like, damn, like that is no wonder the prize money is like decent, you know?
Yeah, we spoke about that before we went on the air a little bit. Like he tried to get me to do it. They kind of do it. They have that tournament and it's put on by an awesome guy. He's phenomenal, and it's like kind of for charity. So I almost feel bad not doing it, but it's on Webster Lake. We all know Webster Lake. It's one of the bigger bodies of water out here, and but 70 boats is just way too much. The ramp is not made for it. Everyone's just, if you're not in the top 10, you're not getting your spot. You know, any of the spots that you want to get. And it's just, I did it last year. I donated my money, and I officially retired from the Webster 70 boat tournaments. Logistically, it's just not, it's a great cause. I'm glad that many people do it. It's just not for me.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's a lot. It's a shitload too, you know?
Yep.
Now, go on, Sean.
I was going to say that place would get filled up with 70 kayaks, never mind 70 bass boats. That's insane.
Yeah. It's just too many.
Do you guys, if you get bored during the tournament, do you like board someone else's boat and just step across? Because
that's what I was thinking.
That's just how. I mean, it's like no matter what spots you have, 2 or 3 boats are already going to be there when you're doing that tournament with that many people. You know, you do have the guys that grew up on that lake and know it like the back of their hand. I'm not one of those. Like, I have to do the work, you know, and try to figure out what works for me there. But the good part is there is a restaurant with docks there. So if you really get messed, you know, if it really sucks, you just go have a couple cocktails and watch everyone else fight over spots from the deck.
There you go. Yeah, perfect. That's actually not a bad way to spend a day after the tournament, tell you the truth.
Yep.
Just ripping Trulies and getting loud.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Or maybe if there's a concert going on at Indian Ranch because it's on that lake, you can just kind of
there you go. Yeah,
throw the
that's
spot
right.
lock on and watch a concert,
It's not a bad idea.
No.
That might be a great idea for carp fishing. Because that's just how it is. It's set it up and wait,
Yeah.
Go there when there's a show, listen to the live music.
Oh yeah. It's happened a couple times where I've gone out there and there's concerts going on.
Yeah.
The part that sucks is the cove that it's in there's not very many fish. I haven't had luck in there.
Yep.
I've seen Bogley pull a couple nice fish out of that cove, but I mean, I'll pretend.
Chrissy Fishing chimes in. She says, getting tanked watching other boats catch tanks.
Yep, exactly.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I like it. So I want to mention, actually, before we go any further, we have a great guest on. We got AJ Beaudoin from Battlefish Charters. If you're looking to go out and do a big kayak fishing trip, if you've never kayak fished ever, but you want to go with someone who's got experience, you can go. He's got a fleet of like a dozen or so kayaks. Really, really great equipment and a shitload of know-how. AJ is great. So we've got his interview coming up later on in the show, which is just absolutely awesome. But I bring this up because AJ's a guide. I'm still working on trying to get Caleb from my trip at Chickamauga to come on as a guide. We have the little loaded potato, Biggest Nickus, scheduled. Next weekend, I'll be recording with him to talk about his guiding service, as well as all kinds of other stuff. But this is something that I kind of want to try to put a little bit of a spotlight on. Is like, you've got folks that are out there that work really hard to like put their time in and build this as a service for somebody who's got to try to monopolize on a small amount of time to go out and fish. Sometimes a brand new body of water. Sometimes this is like a bucket list body of water. Well, if you only have one day to do it, you might as well not waste your time, going out on your own. Go with a guide and, do this. It's not necessarily for everybody. I totally understand. But I'll tell you what, if you just want to make a really good trip, have a good time, and this is what I call really fun fishing because it is really fun. I highly recommend it. So we've got Nick coming on. AJ, he's going to be talking about Battlefish this week. And then, like I said, we're hoping to have Caleb from Bass Quest down in Tennessee jump on and talk with us because we have unfinished business at Chickamauga. He and I.
Bobby, another aspect of folks getting guides that is the reason why I generally get them. I mean, I've gotten a handful or two handfuls over the years.
Yep.
Is when you're in a place that you want to fish, but you don't have your gear or you don't have the ability to bring your gear.
Yeah,
if you're on a work trip, if you're on a family vacation, maybe you have some time to yourself. Disney World trips, just to let you guys know, every time I go to Disney World, part of our expenses in the budget is a 4-hour trip. Last time it was with my son, we walked right across the campus and dude, it's just to break up the monotony for us. I mean, obviously guides aren't cheap, but when we factor that into our Disney trips, works out for me. My wife knows that I'm a little bit more sane throughout the week. If I get a fishing trip right in the middle of it, I'm good. I'm good for the rest of the trip,
Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good point too. Like you forget about it, like the gear. I mean, from everything, I mean, you're like, even if you were to rent a boat that was fully rigged, you know what I mean? You still don't know those electronics, it's not fine tuned. It's like, it's really nice to go and go and fish with somebody that's like, okay, yeah, let's go catch and just capitalize on your time. I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And usually the only prep that I have to make or any gear that I have to bring is a quick phone call. Hey, do you have left-handed bait casters?
Yeah. That's
yes or no. What are we using? We using braid? We using fluoro? We using mono? They tell me, I rig it up myself and bring it. That's it.
There you go. Yeah.
Very, very easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's another aspect to that.
Speaking of reels, your boy invested, I need another 7-speed reel in the arsenal. And I decided to make this one. I've heard a lot of talk over the last, almost 2 years now. The SLX has been around, right, Joe?
Yeah. Oh, it's even 2 to 4. I want to say it's more like 3 or 4 years.
Really? Okay, so it's been around for a little while.
Yeah.
And it's been a buzz for a long time. Like the specifically, like obviously, like in the YouTube world and stuff, like the SLX DC, a lot of people love it. Yeah. I've never really been so much into the DC reels or anything like that. No, shade against them or anything like that. But I've never used one, and I don't really see the the benefit of it. But I did pick up an SLX. Because it had come up on one of Debo's videos, I think recently. He was talking about, is this really the best $99 reel that, best for your money? And I've heard, some people like swear up and down by them. They're like, yeah, you can't get a better reel at that price point. It's not, there's no way. I've heard other people say, I don't get the hype. I'm just not into them. They don't perform the way that I want. And maybe these are folks that just don't normally fish like the lower end price point reels. That's a possibility too. But I figured, I was like, screw it. I'm like, $99. We'll get ourselves an SLX and we'll try it out. We'll see how we're doing. So
I will say, we talked offline about this, and that's I've got 3 or 4 of them now.
Yeah.
One of them is a DC.
Yep.
I had the opt-in. That'll be a conversation for another day about the whole DC thing. But that I will fight somebody that tries to argue to me that is not the best $99 reel out there right now.
Ready for a fight?
Oh, let's hear it. Which one?
I'll put any $99 lose reel anything. Period.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at as far as model line there?
Stand by.
The American Hero.
Oh no, I think that's lower. So there's a speed.
I think it's $50.
Really?
Speed Spool LFS for $99 at Bass Pro right now.
Okay, that's a great reel.
I'd put that up. Yeah, I'd put that up. I think I have one or two of those anyways, but
lose are good reels. I'm not going to dog lose.
No,
my personal opinion. That I have, and also I don't think I've owned a lose reel in that price range.
Yeah,
but just if I for some reason if I'm like I need $100 bait casting reel, the SLX is usually where I go. What I will say is they also have the SLX rod, and I do not like that.
I've heard
I do
people.
not like the rods. I think the rods are, the reel does not seem like, it seems like a higher price point than $99. The rod seems like a lower price point from $99. I think they're sitting around $99 as well. But I was not a fan of the rods. I've never been a fan of Shimano rods ever.
Yep.
But yeah. But I love the SLX. I have a handful of them, and that's what I gotta say about the SLX. I fucking love it.
Chrissy had chimed in. She goes, "Yeah, there were $79.99 for a while too. I grabbed a few at that price point. You can't go wrong with that." Benny goes, "Yep, Mach 2 Lose. I have a Mach 2 spinning reel from Lose, and I love it. I think it's great. Yeah, I think that is that LFS is a good reel, Sean. That's a good reel.
Yeah.
And I think, what's funny? I think Debo honestly would argue the same. Like, that's a damn good reel too, But I don't know what you're getting with one versus the other. Like, I'd love to see a spec sheet side by side and see
I'll tell you the
materials
one feature
and stuff.
The one feature is the side magnet.
The external brake. Yeah, that's a preference thing for sure.
Yeah,
right. It's funny. It's like when I got my first Corrado, I fell in love with it. And there's it's like cars. Like, you're gonna find certain things fit your ergonomic needs better than others and stuff like that. I got into that, and then Joe had made the suggestion. He's like, you should try the Concept A stuff, and I love it. I love it. I've got 3.
Yeah,
but I'm like,
Concept A's,
it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I got a few of those as well. Yeah, those are probably my top 2 favorite reels. I do it just between like Shimano's and 13 Fishing. I do have, higher end Shimano's. I have lower end spinning Shimano's. I haven't had any issue with them. I have a Scorpion DC. Aside from the DC part, I love that thing. I love that reel. Yeah. Yep. I haven't given Lose enough of a chance, I think, Sean. I will admit that.
You know what I think it is for me too when it comes to Lose stuff? It sells out so fast. Like a lot of the time when I'm looking for something from Lose, I can't find it,
Right.
And it's just fucking solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
order it, and then conversely, I buy the cheapest fucking spinning reels man can buy.
Yeah.
But they're also, I've also switched completely over now to when I use freshwater spinning reels, all I use is inshore stuff because they're so much sturdier, and generally they're made of stuff that doesn't rust. Like I had not a good experience with the reels I bought last year because I opened up the spool top and half of the drag washers were rusted out. And I was like, well, fuck, that was because for the first time in 4 years or 5 years, I bought freshwater spinning reels made for bass fishing, even though, on the cheaper end, the Chinese models that I like.
Yep.
And I said, well, I'm going to get those because this was the one model that came with an extra spool. And I said, well, there won't be a difference between that and their inshore. Well, they actually don't make their inshore models anymore, the ones that I had and loved so much for years. And I went to the bass ones, and that was a mistake. So I'm now on a different brand's inshore reels, and they're really tight. I love them.
Really?
Tight meaning good. Yeah. I mean, case in point. Well, let me jump right into this because this is a nice, great segue. So I was able to take my NAR out finally.
Yeah.
I got all the rigging done. I jumped in on a tournament that happened yesterday, the MAKB opener for the Eastern Division, which I'll talk about during tourney time. Some of the stuff that happened there, well, at least the results. But when I committed to that last Sunday, I said, okay, now the timer has started. I have to get this boat on the water. I have to start getting a feel for it. I have to start making sure that the deck is laid out the way I want it. All these little things that I was kind of used to from 2 years in the Slayer.
Yeah.
I now had to throw myself back into an unknown situation, and then make any modifications as needed. So the first trip out was to one portion of the Chicopee River. Nelson had not fished it. He had a day off that he had to dump. So I said, well, what are you doing Wednesday? We went out Wednesday, got the boat in the water, shot a nice little video. Anybody saw that on Instagram?
I saw that.
I tried not to swear and dropped an F-bomb 10 seconds in. I don't know what's wrong with me, but these things happen.
Yeah, but that's part of your brand. It's good. Keep with it. Keep with it. Own it.
I do. Whatever. And of course, that video, I've been trying not to put fishing stuff on my Facebook account. My Facebook account is personal. Like I got family members and stuff on there, and it's just two separate audiences. So some of them don't get some of the fishing stuff that goes on. And that thing, I haven't changed it yet. It auto shares from Instagram to Facebook, and it's driving me insane.
I have the same problem. I have the same problem. Yep.
It's killing me. So that
I do the same thing. I try to kind of keep Facebook separate from, my very bad fishing habit. So,
well, you know what it is? It's my very bad mouth that I'm trying to keep separate.
Yeah.
I don't want,
that too. Yeah,
I don't want my aunts and uncles saying things to me at family gatherings like, hey, well, you swore a lot in that video. And I'm like, yeah.
So tell us about Hoover and Schneef. What's going on there?
What's Schneef?
Can you get me some Schneef?
Yeah, I don't need to answer those questions. I kind of keep things separate, but whatever. It happened.
Yeah.
So we got out there. There's a part of the river that has a little bit of an offshoot area, a little bay that's got some weeds in it. Bobby, you and I went there last year once.
Oh yeah.
And I see Binya's asking questions. I'll get to that in a second. And I said, well, let's go there. Chances are it's going to be a couple degrees warmer than the main river. We'll see if we can get on some bass. And the only thing I think I threw a chatterbait for a couple casts and then just kind of decided the wind wasn't up and I needed to go with something a little more subtle. So I went ahead and put on one of my custom painted AJ jerk baits.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And then started whipping that around. So the first fish I caught out of my NAR, the first fish that I caught on an AJ lure was a 19 and a half largemouth, 19 and a half inch largemouth. I'm like, all right, here we go. Starting off 23 right.
It's not bad. Not bad at all.
Yep. Nelson and I were out there for about 2 hours. I ended up getting about a handful of fish. Nelson got one when he switched to a jerkbait as well. And yeah, we did all right. I did send the picture. I don't know if I told you this. I did send the picture to Chris, and he was actually at a doctor's office waiting for an appointment. I sent him the picture of it, and Nelson took, and he immediately said, "Holy shit!" and made everyone around him jump. So Chris from A-Bay was very, very proud of his work. Nice job.
Great, dude. I love that.
Yep. So we got back out into the main river, and then I started fooling around in the main river for a couple minutes with the live scope system.
Yep.
I got a lot to learn. I really, really do.
Yeah.
Nelson has sent me a couple videos on both kind of fine tuning it and then I don't know. I'm being honest with this. I've got a lot to learn with it. Plus, it doesn't help.
Same with me, Sean. I'm still learning.
I'm trying to learn side scope as well, or side view,
side scan.
Well.
Yeah,
side scan, side. See, I don't even know what the fucking name is. Yeah. But I'm trying to learn two things at once. Also, I discovered I went out again on Thursday to pre-fish, and I have currently a 20 amp Naqua and a 10 amp Naqua, and I'm figuring out which one between my sonar unit and between my live scope is which one is more of a power drain. And initially I thought, well, the sonar will be the problem.
Yeah.
And it drained the battery a bit, but it didn't go all the way out. And then I swapped them. I swapped the 10 amp over to live scope. So come tournament day, the 10 amp was actually kicked by 10:30. So I had no live scope from 10:30 till it's just experimentation. I didn't know how much of a draw it was going to be, and it's nasty. So so chances are I'll be trying to get a hold of another 20 amp Naqua and running it that way, because the live scope had no problems on the first day. The second day and third day, the second day I was only out for an hour or two. The third day it didn't work out.
Well, let's talk electronics for a second here. So one thing I learned, Sean, and we'll do this right here. This is kind of the one. So when it comes to the live scope, you have the Garmin, right?
I do.
Okay, so same one I run. So when it comes to that, the one thing I did learn by watching 1,000 fucking videos is this is what the bass come up as on there. It's almost like a shining star in the sky, kind of like that round circle with the shine coming on the top and bottom.
Yep,
that's what your bass are looking like in the water.
Yeah, I saw the fish, and I feel I identified them right.
Yeah. So that was the biggest thing with me. Like the first couple times I went through, where I didn't even think of it. I was like, for some reason, my expectation was going out there and being like, on my screen, they're going to be fucking labeled above. You know what I mean? No, so I was like, fuck, I didn't really think about how to identify each.
This one's a smallmouth, Joe.
Yeah. So I mean, but it is crazy to whereas, that's kind of how your bass come up. You'll have your trout are kind of more elongated, especially your bigger trout. But it is gnarly when you see your first like big pike on there, because it literally, that's the one thing where you can see the fucking head, the fucking snout, the fucking tail. That's gnarly to see.
Because they're big enough to see.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I've used live scope before.
Okay. I'm
learning the settings. It's the fine tuning that there's a bunch of stuff in there that, what is the one setting on there I'm trying to digest right now? Nelson started walking me through that. He's like, I don't even know what this does. And we were looking up videos about it. There's one setting that I was looking at it yesterday before it kicked, and I was going through the settings of it, and I'm watching the bottom and how the signal is reflecting off the bottom. And I was trying to get a hold of it mentally. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're right.
Because if you can get a hold of something mentally, then I guess I can visualize what's going on better. You know what I mean? Let me, God, what is the name of that setting? It's a 3-letter initial, a set of 3 initials. It's like LVT or LVG or something like that.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
It's got 4 settings, and it's high to off, right? It's off, low, medium, and high. And what that does is, depending on the setting, is how dark or how visible the actual beam coming off the transducer is, because you can see it when it's set on low, and when you turn it to high, it goes off. Or when it's off, you can see it completely. This setting. When this setting is off, you can see the beam completely. When the setting is high, it goes away, and it changes. It seems to change the contrast a little bit, but it's not a contrast setting. So I'm trying to figure out what that is and what it does, and it's kind of, once I figure that out, I'll be in better shape. And then it's just a matter of the contrast and how far out. But I mean, some of the stuff I was seeing, I was doing everything I could with the live scope to, case in point, yesterday, there were 2 tunnels that were on this lake separating basins. And I was going through the tunnels, and I was actually just fucking around with the live scope and using it in the tunnels, using it at the entrances, and seeing that structure and seeing how clear it is to know what now. I mean, that's cement. So now I know what that rock looks like. Anytime I'm around a weed bed, I'm just poking around in there. But I have used on Loaded Potatoes boat. He has it. He was the first boat that I'd ever seen it. And he would, a couple times when we went out, he'd bring me up and say, look at this. And you could see, and you could see the fish, you could see bait balls. Even there was one Chronic Trips or Jigs and Bigs tournament. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. We went out early and we were up on the mountains and I needed to get a pike. And he's like, look at this. And we watched a pike following a bait ball, and I threw a crankbait out there. Didn't see it take the crankbait, but it vanished for a second and then it was on. So it went out of the beam to get my crankbait. And I got that. That was a big pike. It was like 27, 28, 30 inches, something like that. But yeah, I've used it. It's the fine tuning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I only used it I got it like halfway through the season last year. So this is going to be my first full season. I feel like I have to fuck with the settings. I haven't figured out settings that I'm in love with yet. If that makes sense. Yeah. I'm still fucking with it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And really the 2 places I've fished have been kind of turbid water, real dirty water, and not, there was rocks on the bottom of the river, but for the most part, a softer bottom, I think, in general.
Right.
So I have a lot to learn, but getting back to Binya's question, the turn radius is excellent on that Nar, I do believe. It's much better than the Slayers was.
Yep.
So that was good. By going into yesterday, so 2 times out, once for 3 hours with Nelson on Wednesday, and then Thursday, the tournament actually was scheduled for a lake out on the Cape, and because of the high winds that were predicted, which of course never came to pass, and I was comfortable with that Cape Lake, the tournament moved to a lake out by Framingham, and where we'll get into our FTG. I met some fantastic humans out there.
Framinghonians.
Oh my God. I went to school out there too. And it was, I just must have not have mixed enough with the local populace. But it moved, and we, by the time we got ready for the tournament, my layout was set. And then I actually had a little bit of engineering, and I'm going to be sharing this on Instagram probably within the next week. With using the Nocqua batteries, I didn't want them just sitting in the hull, rolling around, possibly hitting wires, doing damage and stuff like that. So I went over to the Home Depot.
Oh, the Home Depot.
And I do not own a pegboard in my house. I don't. All my tools are I have a giant rolling toolbox. I'm good to go on that, right? But pegboard baskets are pretty usful for certain things. Oh, hell so I went and got a 2-pack of pegboard baskets, and the 2-pack, the smaller of them, holds 2 Nocqua 20 amp hour batteries perfectly, like snug as a bug in a rug. Just great shit.
Okay.
So I went ahead and the panel I was planning on installing them on, I didn't know how sturdy it was. I didn't know if it was support. Like, I didn't want to damage the boat. Yeah. So I made a couple calls, to and from 3 Bells to make sure this wasn't going to be an issue. And I went ahead and installed it there, and pictures to come soon. And I'm sure Heidi and Billy will be pretty happy with this because it looks good. And their batteries have a nice resting place sitting behind that panel. Real quick on the tournament, we got out there and it was pouring. I was in a wetsuit, and by 11 o'clock, I was shivering in the wetsuit. The winds never picked up, but it just wouldn't stop with the downpour. And yesterday's forecast in the area was supposed to be in the mid 60s. When I left the tournament at 3 p.m., it never got over 50. It just stayed miserable and cold all day. And the fish felt it because out of 22 anglers, there were, I believe, 11 skunks. And this is a group of experienced anglers that can catch fish in most situations, and we got killed. 24 fish, I believe, were turned in the entire tournament, and 2 of them were chain pickerel.
Yep.
So 22 largemouth between 22 anglers, and half the people got skunked. I mean, I ended up with 1 fish.
Crazy.
I caught the first fish of the day, and Bobby, you had sent me a text.
Yeah.
Everybody was kind of in disbelief. I was getting a couple of texts about it that my 15 lasted as the lunker for almost 3 hours?
Something like that. Like at least 2 hours.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So that thing sat there and I was just laughing like, this is insane. I will say this, that 15 snapped up a custom painted lipless A-Bay lure. So I sent that picture to Chris as well of the scoreboard saying A-Bay is responsible for one of the biggest fish of the tournament 2 hours in. He had a laugh about that. And it was only a 15-incher, so it wasn't anything to brag about, but it was doing the job that day. Slowly people started catching fish. There was a gentleman that was newer to us who won the tournament, and I got to the ramp with him at the same time, and I said, "How'd you do?" And I looked at the scoreboard, and again, I'm going to go on a little bit of a bitch rant here.
Fair enough.
It drives me nuts that we have all these real-time scoreboards.
Yeah.
And they're never used as real time because people sandbag, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And it drives me fucking nuts. So the gentleman alongside me, I think, has fished quite a few big boat tournaments. And I don't think he was kind of aware of the etiquette. And I didn't give him a rash of shit, but I definitely made my opinion known. And as a director, I can't really fucking yell at somebody. He didn't break a rule. It's just etiquette.
Yeah.
And so he turned his fish in immediately, but he ended up winning the tournament. He had the winning bag. Guy caught 7 fish on a day where nobody else caught more than 2. So good for him.
That's
he did great.
Nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. I finished 8th. What are you going to do? And I am kicking myself. I for a couple of reasons. Number one, I got 2 of those 3/4 ounce lipless crankbaits custom painted from A-Bay. Chris did a great job with them. If anybody has a ladder and a lot of time on their hands, I'm not going to tell you which trees they're in or around Lake Coquitchuit. You go ahead. There's a couple of fucking beautiful crankbaits about 40 foot up and a couple of oak trees. Have fun with that. They're gone. And then I did get 1 fish. I switched back to a Rapala lipless, and I got smoked. And it was funny because I threw it a little too shallow. And I felt it bump off the rocks a couple times. I said, "Oh shit!" And then I felt something funny. It wasn't a great hit, and I'm like, "Was that a hit?" And then I felt another hit, and then that was the second one. So I think it missed the first time and came back around. And I got it to the boat, and I thought I tired it out. Let me make that clear. Thought I tired it out. Had the net in the water with my left hand. My right hand was crossed over. The fish ran back under my boat and towards the back and threw the hook when it got around my net. And I'm guessing that fish was 18 to 20 inches. So tragedy for me. Yeah, I could have made 3rd, I guess. I don't know.
Probably.
Could have had a run at lunker. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's just, this is what happens in tournaments. And especially at the beginning of the year with fucking rust. I mean, I haven't fished aside from this week. I haven't fished since November. Yeah. So it's been almost 7 months.
How was it fishing that whole tournament with the arm?
Oh, arm held up great. And
That's
it probably helped that I was wearing the wetsuit and it was compressing it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure
it wasn't sore at all today. No swelling. So this was a trial by fire because like I said, I had 3 hours with Nelson on the water.
Yep.
And 2 hours by myself pre-fishing where I didn't catch anything. It held up. So thank you to my surgeon. That was good stuff.
Oh, this is interesting right here. So a couple of things in there. Binion chimes in. He goes, "Oh yeah." He's like, they use this the time submitted as the tiebreaker in Slay Nation to help curb sandbagging. And then Chrissy chimes in here, and I thought the same thing. And then I remembered you telling me about this whole situation before, Sean. She says, "Side note, Ken had posted to follow along on Fishing Chaos, but I noticed for that tournament, the scoreboard was set to off. Is that the norm?" Chrissy, so is it the last hour or the last 2 hours?
2 hours.
It is the last 2 hours.
Yeah.
He shuts it
you
off.
You were able to see it, Bobby. I didn't send you the link, right?
No. I saw it. Yeah, I saw it, but I saw it first thing in the morning. I think I saw it at like 10 a.m. John Ferrero was in first at that time, and it was like one fish. And I think at the time you were fourth.
Yeah, so 10, 8, whatever. That fish I had. Well, yeah, that lasted for about 3 hours. I think John, Mike Elric, somebody else popped in 3 fish that were bigger than mine, but it wasn't like 20s. There was 120 that got caught later.
Yeah.
As far as Binya, that time submitted thing sucks, to be quite honest. I know they're trying to curb sandbagging with it. There's no way to curb. There's no way to do it. It sucks. It's because the minute you say to somebody, hey, why were you sandbagging? They say, I was on a part of the lake where I don't have signal. How can you argue with that?
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, I would honestly prefer that real-time scoreboards just aren't used because it's fucking maddening. And people do sandbag and shit just to be assholes and say, somebody thought they were in fucking fourth and getting money and now they're not. It sucks. And unfortunately, it's difficult to submit a fish and not see, the scoreboard. It sucks. It's a small problem within the sport. I really wish that it wasn't that the scoreboards weren't up at all, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I kind of think like, they probably shouldn't be,
Well, there's a lot of, that's in the kayak world on top of I wish that, CPR was used more in the big boat world.
Yeah.
Especially local tournaments. It's not like, you get, even with that tournament the other day at Webster, how many people stuck around and were there to cheer for some dude raising up 3 bass or 5 bass.
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not BASS.
Yeah. Exactly.
Aren't they even using CPR now too? Who's using, what are the major, is it?
They were, it's MLF was.
MLF is?
Not anymore.
Actually, they still are. They just kind of change it, but they weigh them real quick. They have every one of them has an official on their boat.
Yep.
So they weigh it and then they toss it.
Well, that's good. Just get them back in the water. They don't need to be brought in at all. But that's, one of the things we were going to talk about too. And just a tip with differences or, we brought up a number of topics yesterday to when we were spitballing about what we were going to talk about today. And one of the things was differences in generational anglers and the old generations. I'll bring them in.
Yep.
Even though there's studies out there showing that bringing bass to boat launches certain times a year are going to hurt the population more than keeping them.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. But what do I know? I don't know shit. I'm just Sean the Fisherman. That's all.
That's it.
I love
it.
Bottom line, so the season opened at season opened at Wachusett. Season open for MAKB. We have our banquet next week. That'll be fun.
That's right.
So I'm just going to be trying to get out as much as possible and get a hand, really wrap my head around this this electronics that I now have in the boat. I got a lot of work to do on that. And but so far so good. I'll take an 8th after being on the shelf for so long and everybody had a shit day and I didn't get skunked out of it.
That's what I'm saying.
I can out of that.
You get 11 anglers that walk away with a skunk. It's like it makes that one fish you caught feel that better.
And here's the best part. Nate was fishing yesterday. Nate finished in 7th ahead of me by a quarter inch. He got it's fine. He got a 15 1/4, right? So I waited to see where he was going to submit that fish in chronic trips. And he put it in the largemouth category. I took my 15 and put it in any 5.
Any 5. Hell yeah.
Now we're tied, motherfucker, because I'm leading any 5.
There you go.
That is how spiteful I am with Nate. And he laughed.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it, man. Oh,
so yeah, that was my week. The only thing I think we missed out on talking about, Bobby, is you sent us a pretty interesting text that is going to lead to some serious fucking shenanigans, and I can't wait to hear you talk about it.
So there is a couple of things, like just us going through our weeks in this last segment here is interesting because it really does bring to light the differences between all of us as anglers. We are into it for totally different things, and there's crossover, and that's what I think makes it interesting and keeps it spicy.
Keeps it spicy.
But Berkshire Brett sent me a DM, and God, man, I love it when I get just these amazing ideas that come my way, and I love this idea. So he sends me an idea, and he says, Bobby, he says, you're, how did he say? He says, here's an idea for a new segment. He goes, you've asked people for most of the interview segments about what they think the most gimmicky or oversold lure is. How about a test of these actual lures? See which ones are as good as they claim and which ones are absolute trash. He was like, you could do a different one every week. And I'm like, absolutely, I could. There's a good list. And I'm like, we would probably run out pretty quickly if we just did these every week. But I think what I'm going to do is just do, do them as they show up. So maybe we'll fish with one for a month, go for an outing, and then we'll do something. So this is going to be a segment we're going to throw out there. I said, I think it actually might be a cool thing to do with other people too, like make it a challenge. Loser buys lunch, that kind of thing.
Ooh,
that's what I'm thinking, like with like a jig head, that would be awesome. Also, the idea of having this crossover for video content could be really cool. We could do some stuff with the Jigs and Bigs YouTube channel and also do some stuff on Instagram, but then do the actual review on the show. I think it could be pretty freaking awesome. But there is a bait that he had sent over this video for, and it's called, so it's a 2-ounce 12-leg squirm, and it truly does look like a spider. Hang on, let's get this over here.
Looks like an octopus.
It kind of, actually, it looks a little bit like a squid.
Yeah.
And you'll see the way it's got these appendages that kind of flail as you flick it through the water. So I think that's probably going to be on there for sure. And I'm going to ask folks to, do votes, things like this, so that the listeners kind of have a little something like in the show notes when there's one coming up. I'll put a link for a survey and you guys can fill it out, submit what gimmicky lures or what crazy presentation or whatever it might be that you think I should try. And I think this will be a lot of fun. It'll be great. And there are some ways that, like I mentioned to Sean, was it the helicopter lure, Joe, that you said you've got a bunch of?
I have them.
That's nuts, because I don't think that's going to be an easy find. I know Tim Jakes gave me a ton of banjo minnows, and I know I was giving them out at an event at some point, but I feel like I've still got more.
All my flying lures are in Minnesota. I don't like even though the flying lure that are being sold today, I'm pretty sure say the original flying lure on them. They're not. They have like, fucking laser printed, lifelike fish scales and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
The ones I had in the 90s were tubes, and the ones I got a hold of in Minnesota were just tubes, just inverted.
Yeah.
So they go backwards.
Yeah.
I think they're great. I would love to, show you how those work here, but I could probably find some on eBay, I guess, but
we'll track some down, it'll just be one of those things. We just fool around. We'll go find some docks,
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it. I think it could be a shit ton of fun. In fact, Benny goes, do a tournament and you can only use a banjo minnow. I think if we did a tournament and every grouping of people was assigned a novelty lure, that could be fun.
Right. So that banjo minnow, I think we talked about this. I just want to go on a kind of a tangent with that.
Sure.
Have you guys ever actually used those? Like really?
I've never used them. I know that they come with a jig. I've only ever had them put on a ball head jig before.
So they were the answer.
Yep.
They were the as seen on TV answer for the sluggo, really.
Yeah, for the sluggo, really.
So the initial hooking method of those things, and I don't know if they still do it, was just simply looked like a circle hook, and you just put it through the nose, and it's the same thing as a sluggo.
Yep.
So you had I think it was a weedless circle hook, and you just pulled it through right that way. When I used them initially in the 90s, I didn't have the patience or the skill developed, and I say patience not as in patience to fish, the hook set patience to let a fish inhale those.
Yeah.
And I missed a lot of fish because I wasn't letting them take the whole thing. They would grab the tail and I'd fucking set the hook for no reason. But now it was a different matter. I just haven't used them in years. I could probably do some damage with that in a freaking tournament. If we had a goofball banjo minnow tournament, game on. I'd have some fun with that.
Okay. Yeah.
Been you game on, me and you, buddy?
Fucking maybe this is something that's
A few of my biggest fish I ever caught was on a nose hooked fucking soft jerkbait.
Yeah.
Bobby, let's table this discussion of how we're going to do this. I have a great idea.
Okay.
I have a great idea that I think solves another problem that you and I have been talking about. We're going to put this on the back burner for now, but just to let you guys know, this idea is out there, and I just had a brainstorm right now. Bobby and I have had talks, pretty emotional, deep rooted talks over the past 2 weeks about something that's happened in the fishing world. And I think I just had a brainstorm.
Okay. I love that idea.
Because I'm the smartest fucking raccoon, baby.
Fucking hey, dude. I'm psyched. I'm stoked. This is good. Yeah. This is good.
Oh,
Shit's coming together.
Real good. This is real good.
So yeah, we're going to be out there. That's the plan. Like, I mean, I've always said to everybody who asks me about Jigs and Bigs that this is a show that is for everybody. You can just walk away with a little something. Hopefully you're entertained. We can deliver it as entertainingly as possible. But I think the idea of various folks, seriously reviewing these novelty baits is a great, terrific idea. I think everybody has something that they'll get either entertainment wise, but also like we've got serious shit, some tips. I think that AI might be onto something.
That's right.
It might be onto something. Shit. Or did I write that as the iTunes pitch? I don't know.
This is good. I just jumped to just continue this conversation. I just jumped on eBay real quick. All I'm finding is tube style flying lures in 5-packs. They are not cheap.
Yeah,
but I might not cheap. I might get a hold of some of these for states I can use them in with the lead. Oh, this is great. All right, good. Well, good. I got a fucking new place to spend my money. Fantastic. But exactly.
God.
So this is good. We have some fun. Bobby, you'll love to hear this idea. We'll talk about it off air.
I love it. It sounds good. How are we doing as far as our checklist of going through everything for segment one?
That's
we got X. It. We nailed it, guys.
Close us up, sir. Give us a segue.
So let's go ahead. We're going to take a short break, guys. When we get back, we got round number 2. We got all of those regular segments that you want to hear in there. We got a bait of the week for you. We got an FTG. We got a couple of FTGs that'll actually line up pretty nicely. We also have a little just the tip in here. If you're looking for a little motivation in your life, if you need a little Tony Robbins to make you feel good, we got you. This is if you need that motivational speaker, Jigs and Bigs is going to deliver that. And then we've got our tournament info as well. I mean, all kinds of good stuff coming up. Segment 2, you're not going to want to miss that. Coming up after that, we got AJ Beaudoin from Battlefish Charters. You're not going to want to miss that. All kinds of good stuff lined up, guys. We'll be right back with more Jigs and Bigs after this. Hey guys, Bobby Roast Beef here from Jigs and Bigs. If there's one thing I can't stand spending money on, it's on something that's not versatile, something that I can't get a lot of use out of. I want to talk to you about Frost Buddy. What Frost Buddy is it's one of those can coolers. I've seen these before. In fact, I have some that are limited to only fitting one specific size of can, like a standard 12-ounce can. I stumbled onto Frost Buddy, and I was blown away with it. So versatile. Fits standard cans, tall cans, slim cans, and even 12-ounce bottles. And the magic is the insert fits all of these items in various stages within the insert. And when you take that out, you can fit a full 16-ounce tall boy can. In fact, it even doubles down on being versatile with the coffee lid. And on my recent trip to Chickamauga, I had a field day with this thing. I was throwing beer cans in it. I'd have coffee in the morning. On the drive, I was throwing in all different sizes of cans for different canned coffee products to keep me awake on the long drive back. The thing was amazing. So I recommend you check out Frost Buddy. If you're in the market for either a travel cup for your coffee or a can cooler at all, either one of those, check it out. For the money, you cannot go wrong. What I've done is this. In the show notes for this podcast you're listening to right now, if you look there, you'll find a link to Frost Buddy. where you can get yours. And not only can you go and get your Frost Buddy there, but you can help out the show as well. Go and visit that link in the show notes to this podcast. Check out a Frost Buddy. Tons of colors, tons of patterns, all kinds of great stuff. And it's a great spot to put your Jigs and Bigs sticker too. Take it from me, Bobby Roast Beef. You're going to get the most versatility out of this one product, probably out of anything you're ever going to buy, especially for anything that you're drinking. Frost Buddy. It works for me. I'm a happy guy. Jigs and Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form content. For all your premium kayak needs, we partner with Three Bells Outfitters, located along Smith Cove in Niantic, Connecticut. Three Bells is your go-to location for kayaks and accessories from Hobie, Native, Bonafide, Jackson, Yakutak, Naqua, Boondocks, Burley Pro, and many more. Financing options are available to upgrade you and your kayak fishing experience. White glove delivery service is also available. Visit threebellsoutfitters.com for more info, and don't forget to tell them that Jigs and Bigs sent you. When it comes to high-quality polarized sunglasses, we've partnered with Torres. They provide stylish sunglasses in a variety of frames that are light and fit comfortably on your face. The polarization cuts glare and allows you to see the whole picture, helping you identify what's below the water's surface. They have a 60-day risk-free trial, lifetime warranty, and free shipping. Plus, you can save yourself 10% with the code JIGSandBigs10 at checkout. Visit Torrege.com to check out their selection. That's www.torege.com. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process. Thanks.
Bobby and Sean now have a special presentation for us all. They'd like to give everyone just the tip.
All right, so just the tip's going to be me, and we're going to branch off into I think a pretty good conversation. But my tip to everybody this week is, if you're a fisherman, be humble. Be humble to other fishermen, because not everybody is going to have the same exact fishing style as you. Not everyone's going to use the same, the same gear, the same baits, anything like that. It's not okay to shit on them because of it. Yep. If someone decides to be a live bait fisherman on the bank, you shouldn't be on your boat, throwing artificial baits and, calling that guy like an asshole. And the other big thing that I've been seeing a lot lately is, this older generation of fishermen, for some reason, is really shitting on, I guess the marketing of new fishing gear, fishing baits, whether it's different companies such as the ones I see often are Guggen and 6 Sense.
Yep.
A lot of those older generations like to shit on them. And you know what? They're doing exactly what they need to do to keep this sport going for generations to come.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for them, there's a good chance that this sport, competitive, whether it's, someone bringing their kid out to fish at a pond, or even if it's, competitive fishing, whether it be kayak, big boats, however you want to see it. If it wasn't for these guys changing the way, you market this sport, then in the next 20 years or 50 years, it might not even be here. I just see a lot of people shitting on the way that things are being marketed, and they are doing exactly what they have to do to get those young kids into the sport. They are hitting the social media. They are making sure that they are putting their marketing towards younger kids. A lot of these old companies don't do that. A lot of these old companies are still going towards, the older anglers, but they need to get to that younger crowd.
Yeah.
And, I've seen this even when I own the shop. I saw it a lot. And again, I'm gonna bring up, Guggen, like 6 Sense, them a lot. So many people would shit on Guggen.
Oh yeah.
Guggen was the number one that got shit on constantly. And I argue, why? Why? Because they're on YouTube, because they kill it on Instagram, because younger kids like them. I was like, every young kid who comes into this shop right now the first thing they ask for is Guggen. They're not out here. They're not asking for Kitech. They're not asking for Gary Yamamoto's. Like
they're not buying the shit you use. Who gives a fuck?
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, do their baits suck? No, they don't. Their baits don't suck. Their packaging's awesome. You know, it's like just because it's not appealing to them, they think it's garbage.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
It's like, you know, Ford and Chevy guys.
Yep.
You know, like I like Ford, you like Chevy. You know, it's like if we get down to it, they all suck the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. They all suck the same. These new trucks, they all suck the same now. It's that's kind of my take on it. I'm so sick of seeing these companies, these up and coming companies constantly getting shit on. And you know, I saw it when I was bringing Jeremiah back from the doctors the other day. I stopped in Wilbur. I think I was still in Wilbraham, and 3 kids come in, and they noticed me because I had the Sixth Sense, the Skeeter decals on my truck. Because I am a huge Sixth Sense fan. I'm a huge Sixth Sense fan. Oh yeah, I fucking love that company. And they started to question me, and I look at them. They're probably between 13 and 15 years old. Mm-hmm. All 3 of them had different Sixth Sense gear on. You know what I mean? So that's exactly the shit. How often do you see a younger kid wearing a Lose, a Lose
Strike King
or
shirt.
Even a Strike King or Yamamoto or anything like that? You don't, because they are not trying to appeal to the younger crowd. And my personal opinion is they really need to start. It doesn't mean you need to stop marketing towards, the people who are already into the sport, but you should kind of branch off a little bit, because guess what? We're not going to be around all the time.
See, this is the one thing that I think that the YouTube fishermen, and whether that be, Guggen or, any of the Sixth Sense affiliates or anybody who's doing any of this stuff, really in a lot of ways, what they're doing is they're kind of bringing interest to fishing where there really wasn't much before.
Right.
And there's value to that, because the reality of it is as people are going to try stuff. In fact, it's really kind of interesting, because a lot of these other YouTube personalities will promote the shit out of these boxes, that people get a mix, all different kinds of stuff to try out. So you might find a crankbait that you really love from a totally different company or something like that. You might make that call and say, hey, this is whatever. I think this is my main thing. I've run into this before where people get brand blind. And
I was just thinking the same. They got the fucking blinders on, and they don't want to, look left or look right. And I'll be the first one to admit, when we were talking about the Bass Pro shit a couple weeks ago, I had never really looked at it, and I was like, oh, my fucking Bass Pro must be garbage. I fucking went up there the other day to Cabela's, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, I grabbed a few packs of their I don't know the name of them right now, but basically they're Kitech. It's the exact same thing.
They're fantastic.
They feel the same. I'm a huge Kitech guy, and I'm looking at it, I'm feeling, I'm like, it's fucking the same exact thing for almost half the price.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think in this just a tip kind of went way crazier, off in a different road than I expected. But yeah, take blinders off. My tip, take off the blinders. Go check out other things. Yeah. Broaden your horizons. There are phenomenal baits out there from those up and coming companies, the smaller ones like AJ. Look at people like AJ, like Fresh Baitz, all them. Yeah. They are phenomenal stuff. And that's take your blinders off and stop being an ad just because if I'm using Guggen and you're using Yamamoto, just don't fucking sit there and call me an asshole, because I'm not calling you an asshole. You like what you like.
You know what I think amazes me the most out of this, though, is when you'll find somebody that's like, let's say, like, I love throwing War Eagle spinner baits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love them. They're just fantastic.
Yeah.
But, you know, a kid, you know, next to me is throwing a Guggen Zinger. Or what's the name of the new Sixth Sense?
Oh, the Divine spinnerbait.
Divine. Okay. Divine spinnerbait. So somebody's throwing a Divine spinnerbait or a, you know, a Guggen Zinger or something, and they're, you know, they're just killing them. And somebody's, you know, maybe X amount of yards down the bank throwing a War Eagle. And it's like, and what I find is often it's like their pride is a little bit hurt. You know what I mean? If it like, but it's like, you didn't make that bait. You are only fishing it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I mean, we hear it all the time. I'll talk to people and they'll say, oh, yeah, well, fish will bite anything. You know, I mean, Marlon Bates had done that one video, and everybody likes to reference it, where he takes an unfinished block of wood, puts treble hooks on it and a lip, and catches fish on it. Yep. And like, it's like, I mean, it's the bait, it can only get you so far. Just because you have this brand of bait in your bag doesn't mean you're going to catch fish. It's even more infuriating when you might not be catching fish on it, but somebody right across the way or nearby you did, or at another body of water has been killing it on that bait, on that other bait. So it's like people, they take it, they make it their idea. I've noticed the same thing with like music fans. They like get into like, there's one band that they just love and it becomes their sole identity, you know, and they just lose their mind. You're like, really, what kind of life are you living?
The crazy part is that these people don't think about, guess what? Most of these fucking baits, whether it's lures or, you know, hard lures, whether it's soft plastics, they're all made in the same fucking factories right next to each other in China. Yeah. They're literally made in the same fucking factories.
Yeah.
Right next to each other.
Yeah.
No one thinks about that.
Yeah, it's true.
Joe, I completely agree with you on the last part of your statement there. Not this one, but right before Bobby started talking, where you said, just be nice to each other. That's really the bottom line on this.
Yeah, that's it.
Because when it comes down to it, we can all have a million discussions. It's just, when it comes to fishing in particular, someone is always going to take it too far. And that's what the issue has been.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the truck analogy you gave, I don't know if that really fits, because someone can turn around and say, well, look, here's the initial cost, and then here's, you know, projected maintenance costs for a particular brand. Like, that's something you can quantify. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I won't name a brand, because after 5 years, chances are I'm going to be spending X amount of money a year on maintenance. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like lures where, you know, like you just said, the Bass Pro ones, those are what you're talking about, the ones that come in the clamshell, right?
Yep.
So you get 6 of them, right?
The packaging is the same as fucking Kitech, just different label. Yeah.
So the I'm thinking the ones I use, I get 2 times the amount of Kitech, but it's double the price. So that makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's the same fucking price. It really comes down to, like, it really is personal preference, and then just not shitting on someone's personal preferences.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. Right. But the problem is, it always gets taken too far. There's always some guy who wants to turn around and say, hey, you're an idiot because you didn't use this.
Yeah.
Right.
That it just happens.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I've come to terms over my maturing as an angler, and I understand that with the minimum amount of gear I carry, and I do try stuff. I'm happy to try, you know, I that 13 fishing reel, I tried it. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
A Shimano, I tried it. I didn't like it. I'm not saying that I don't like Shimano and 13.
Yeah. You have a reason why you don't like something, and which is totally understandable.
But I tried.
Yeah.
I didn't say I don't like eating sushi and never have eaten sushi. I ate the fucking sushi, and then I said, you know what? This ain't for me.
Yeah.
And you know, I buy Lou's bait casting reels, but like I said, I buy shit Chinese spinning reels, and I will continue to do so. And I'm not loyal to any brand on that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm loyal to Lou's because I have not gotten anything I consider to be a bad product from them. And that's hard to find these days. So I'll just keep buying them until they fuck me over. But like I said, that that company that Sugialanga. I liked them. Their inshore reels were great. I bought 4 of them over 2 years. Then I switched to their bass model, and it was a piece of shit, and they fucked me, and now I have Sea Kings. There you go. I'm not worried about it. You know, I'm not screaming from the rafters that everyone should go back to buying Sugialanga, and nor have I said Sea. That's the first time I said Sea King on this show.
Yeah.
But I've had a week to use them, and I like them. Who knows? Maybe in a month they might rust out too, and I might shit on them.
Yeah.
Because I spent my money and the value wasn't there.
Yeah.
That's where I make my decisions. I mean, but I'm also not, you know, if you guys want to buy the Shimano's and 13s, go for it. It works for you guys.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about
it.
Nor will I shit on them to you guys. Just I mean, well, privately, I might say that fucking well, then Bobby, the one of the 3 you have for the 13s is mine.
Yeah.
So that one reel I do have beef with. It can go to hell.
Fair enough. Although and that's I totally understand that. Like, you know, it's one thing if you have an adverse like opinion to something because of your own experience. It's another thing if you're just like, man, you know, you should be using this because my favorite is when people say like, oh, that Guggen stuff's for kids. Like, okay, cool.
Fuck, how is that relevant?
Yeah, it makes no sense. But I've heard grown ass fucking adult men say, "Oh, that Guggen stuff is for kids," and I kind of laugh my ass off a little bit. I'm like, you know, I mean, technically these are all fucking toys that we're fucking catching fish with.
Right.
So I mean, say what you want.
I mean, when I had the shop, that was the not number one, but that I would hear that more.
Yeah.
So often was like people just shitting. I carried a lot of Guggen shit.
Yep.
And I sold a ton of Guggen shit. And certain people just shit on it constantly. Like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I use it.
Yeah.
There's certain Guggen shit. They're soft jerk baits. That's my go-to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's just,
they have
just me.
Some plastics that are absolutely out of this world. They have some other plastics that aren't really reinventing the wheel. Like shit. Right. But look at that. How many people have a soft plastic jerk bait or a soft plastic stick bait? You know, every company makes that. You know, it's like
you can only change them so much.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
if you found a recipe that you like, it's got the right kind of action as it's dropping, or you know, it's some people they talk about price and they're just like, oh, you know, I like to buy these. It's like, what are you fishing the same plastic for a decade? You're not buying a fridge. You're buying a soft plastic lure. You want a fish to eat this, and if it wrecks it, it's kind of just adds to the story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that said, I need a new mag draft. No, I'm just kidding. I did throw both the giant, the 8-inch and the 6-inch mag draft, and I got the 8 hung up pretty good and some muck on the bottom, but we got her back.
That's good.
We got her back.
That's scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I could think of a handful of baits that would be scarier to have tied on. You know.
True. Yep.
All right. So yeah, be nice to each other. Don't be a bunch of assholes, guys. And with that said, let's go ahead and jump into this next little portion here. We're going to talk a lot about assholes.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
We had a discussion before we went on air about how these just a tip and fuck that guy just completely contradict each other.
They really do.
So brace yourselves. I generally don't talk to anglers in a negative way because I always say, hey, check out the podcast. And I try to be a little bit of an ambassador for the Jigs and Bigs brand. And the 2 days I spent at Coquitchuit, there was 2 guys there. Now the trout have been stocked, so that brings out a whole different breed of angler. If you like fishing for trout
100.
and just sitting there with worms, that is your business. It is none of my business. I have never shit on anybody for that.
Yeah.
I also don't take any shit from trout anglers that are believe they own the entire boat ramp to fish from and they park their cars. That's annoying.
That's
parking your car and putting your lines out on the ramp when there's plenty of shoreline available right next to the ramp, but you want to be parked there. Like, no, the ramp's for something. The ramp's for bringing boats in and out of the water. It's not your fucking personal fucking rod holder. Now, these two gentlemen were fishing on the pre-fishing day, and I didn't have any conversation with them. One of them said, "Hey, nice rig. Thank you." I went about my way. Very cordial. Well, coming back in, I think we've mentioned on the show a few times that even people that are around water constantly just don't get it as to how their voice travels.
Not at all.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So these two gentlemen, one in the car, one not. The one in the car yells over the sound of his truck, over the sound of the rain, and I'm probably 50 to 100 yards away. I don't know. I was a ways away. I was coming in. "Hey, look at that guy in a kayak. He looks like the fucking Grim Reaper with that mask on."
That's right.
I'm wearing a buff because it was cold. So now I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't understand. I can hear him as if he's in an earbud in my ear. And the other guy says, "Yeah, the kayakers are out today. They must have had one of them derbies." And I'm like, okay. Do I want to say something about the Grim Reaper? Do I want to say something about derbies? I'm like, no, I don't. And then I realize the gentleman on the shore, who's fishing, not in the truck. He's throwing, and not only does he have I think it was 5 rods out for trout with bait on the bottom or bait somewhere on the water column.
That might be
but he's
beyond what he's supposed to.
None of my, I don't know. Is there a limit? Yeah,
I think
whatever.
so.
Again, none of my business. The EPOs were there. They didn't say anything, so maybe they didn't give a shit. Or maybe he was within boundaries. I don't think there's a limit, but I don't know that. I'm not yeah. So I look at this gentleman, older guy, generational difference possibly.
Oh, for sure.
And he's got a spinning reel turned upside down. He's hawking out what appears to be a 1/2 ounce to a 3/4 ounce little Cleo. I don't know what kind of line he was using. It couldn't have been more than 6-pound test because those casts were Barry Bonds on steroids level home run casts. These things were fucking gone with an upside down spinning reel. And I said, you know what? There's too much to start here with. I'm not going to say a word. And I left.
You should have just stood up on your boat, grabbed your paddle, and just kind of like pushed yourself by slowly, like the Grim Reaper, looked at him dead in the face and went, "Bam!" And then just made it along your way. Or be like, I'll be back for you.
I'll be back for you.
What I really should have done is, at this point now with all this technology I have on my boat, I should have said, "Live scope, what do I do in this situation?"
Smack a bitch.
That's exactly.
I bought the live scope.
Yeah. Perfect. It's like it'll help you find those suspended fish that are out deep, but it also it's like your Magic 8 Ball,
Yes.
It's a feature that nobody else is talking about, but you're hearing about it here on Jigs and Bigs.
That's right.
It's funny because we talked about the contrast of like just being nice, and I feel like you were just nice. You didn't lay into them.
I didn't say anything.
No, not at all. But it's one of those things. Like if anybody needs to hear this tip from this week, it's those guys. Be nice. Keep your fucking business to yourself. What's it matter? You know what I mean?
I will say, obviously bass fishermen, especially tournament bass fishermen, can be a little rough around the edges.
Oh yeah.
But those diehard trout guys, they're a whole nother breed. Yep. They're mean.
Yeah, they can be something. Those dudes. That's rough. Well, I want to add a little something. I got to see this for my first time, like out in the field, on my way to go and shoot my content today. I was diverted from my regular route to the location, and I had to go up 91 North, up into Northampton, then come back down Route 5 South. And as I did, I went right past the Oxbow boat ramp, right? Which I was surprised I didn't see more trucks and trailers parked in. I was really, really kind of surprised. But when I was on the highway and I came up, there's a spot of Oxbow that comes over. And I was able to see some folks that were fishing from kayaks. Seemed like they had their shit on together. I noticed they were wearing PFDs. Got off the exit, then looped back around. And as I go over by the boat launch, I see a guy at the boat launch holding some kind of like a can koozie or something like that, wearing jeans and a hoodie. And there is a red fucking wreck kayak right there in front of him. And I'm like, oh my God. I looked down at the temp gauge in my truck and it was 44 and it was bright and sunny. And that's where people make their mistake. They see that bright sunny weather and they're like, oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And then they start drinking. You know what? Bobby,
17 mile an hour winds.
Yeah. Well, you know what would be appropriate for every time we encounter this situation, we lump it in with an FTG?
What's that?
Can we get a voice clip? Can you clip the whatever, not even 10 seconds of voice from Jaws when Richard Dreyfuss is out at the end of the dock and he says, "Excuse me, gentlemen, the police officer wanted you to know that you're overloading that boat." And they tell him to fuck off. And he goes, "Great. Could you tell me where there's a hotel?" And they say, "Yeah, step off the end of the dock." And they laugh at him. Yep. He turns around and starts walking away and just completely snarkily goes, "They're all going to die."
We could definitely do that. I feel like sometimes with these idiots, though, in my mind, this is what I hear. That's just what I hear now. You know, you guys.
So fuck that guy. Fuck those trout guys. I'm not the Grim Reaper. I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate the upside down spinning reel. That's actually more insulting to me because that speaks volumes about the intelligence and personality right there.
Which, did you guys see the YouTube link I sent you about this comedian doing the fishing? And when I saw the one with the upside deal spinning, he was like, how come this thing reels backwards? That guy's hilarious. Someday we're going to have him on for not like for a Jigs and Bigs live, and he'll be like the opening act beforehand, like do a 10 minutes or something like that. It'll be awesome. People know that dude. I forget what his name is, and I intentionally want to leave it off just in case we end up.
Isn't it like the redheaded redneck or something? No, I don't remember.
Redneck, the ginger redneck or something like that.
Yeah, I forgot.
Something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it was funny as hell. It was good stuff. But now we got to shift gears yet again because we got something local to talk about.
Jigs and Bigs, bait of the week.
So, we've mentioned the Hellamite before on the show. I love throwing a Hellamite. I think this is one of the greatest little finessey plastics that is out there. I recently caught my first fish on a drop shot on a Hellamite, but I've thrown them as Ned rigs for like well over the last year, and they've kind of taken over that spot in my tackle box for where a TRD would be. Like they're just buoyant enough to kind of keep that tail end up in the air, but when you dead stick it, that little like tiny little needle point of plastic is just amazing. I think they can't be beat, and the colors are out of this world. So what I had done this week was I had gone out with my my drop shot kit.
Drop cock?
The old drop cots?
The old drop cots.
So I went out with the drop shot box from Fresh Baitz that's got like pretty much all the hot colors going on. In fact, the new limited edition one, which is exclusive to that, the salt and pepper, which for clear water, holy shit, that's got to be out of this world. So I had thrown, it was a green pumpkin with a chartreuse tail.
Ooh, I like that one.
Great one on a little owner drop shot, cover shot hook. So it's kind of Texas rigged. And I threw it down with a 1/4 ounce tungsten weight, hits the bottom, and this sucker just got hammered. And then like lately, all of the trout bites that I've gotten on plastics have been this way, where it's been like a tap and then like a big tap, and then they'll pull drag. I'm not sure what it is, if they just get the tail and then they go back for it. I love the Hellamite. I really, really do. If I really, really, really need to finesse it and get like as compact as I can with a Ned, it's unbelievable. As a drop shot bait, that might be the new go-to.
Yeah, well. It's such a versatile bait. I remember I was at one of the shows, and Nate jumps up on the tank, and the fish in there were kind of finicky. They weren't hitting much shit, and then he throws the Hellamite out on a drop shot. Yep, and they just start smashing it.
Spanked it. Friggin' just spanked it.
I've had plenty of success with them on the Ned rig. I mean, you guys know I drop shot when I have to, which isn't very often. But yeah, they're a Ned rig killer. Actually, they're probably going to be replacing 3-inch worms for me because they just, they do such a great job as impersonating Hellamites, which pretty much are everywhere. I know they're more common in streams and shit, and rivers. But have you guys ever seen like a Hellamite?
Oh yeah,
in the in the wild, shall we say?
In the wild,
yeah.
Nasty motherfuckers. You seen the jaw they have that comes out of their shit? They're pinchers. They're nasty bastards. And smallmouth love them. and it's nice to see that largemouth love them too. Yeah. So no, great job with Fresh Baitz on the design of this wonderful little versatile lure. And I know that the last show we were at Mohegan Sun, the Connecticut Fishing and Outdoors show, they were actually out of 2 colors that I live and die with. So.
Oh, really?
I reached out to them actually last week because they are planning on being a partner with both the Jigs and Bigs and Chronic Trips tournaments.
Yep.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, hopefully that little note I put in at the end, I think I said, hey, let me know when those 2 colors are ready, by the way.
There you go.
Hopefully they don't miss that part. But yeah, excellent lure. And if you guys haven't tried them for Ned rigging or drop shotting, get out there and give those a fucking whirl. They're great.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah, they're freaking dynamite. I mean, I think that that's probably the right move. Like, I think of like a Yum Dinger, the 3-inch Yum Dinger. They've got that more. They're a little bit skinnier than even the 4s, and I feel like the thing is that size is fantastic, but the Hellamites just adds like those little arm appendages and that tiny tail appendage there, which is so freaking key. I also just love, for myself, I love that the way that they rig on the EWG style Neds. I think it's got a divot. So if you've got like a ball head style, that divot will fit nice and compact. It looks like it's part of it. It looks real natural. But if you've got a flat bottom one as well, because that's got the type of head where it's flat on top, it'll fit that perfectly. It's awesome. I think they knocked it out of the park with that plastic. Unbelievable.
They did. I mean, I haven't, and we'll talk more about the other baits that they have, but
oh yeah. Initially, it's funny. That's what we were going to talk about. We're like, should we just freaking stroke Fresh Baitz on this? And I said, you know what? Let's do it a bait at a time, because there's going to be a moment where, and right now where we are in New England, where the bite can be unbelievably tough with the cold water, the changing temperatures, and just like the ups and downs that we're getting into spring. This is a bait that they will absolutely smash.
100%.
Bed fishing too. Little bed rig. Oh yeah. Hello. Fuck off. Bye.
So the decision was made to not let Fresh Baitz, get to the end today. We're not going to get to the end of that. We're going to edge them for a while.
Is that what it is? That's what.
I'm going to crowbar that in.
Sequence.
This AI is getting out of hand.
Oh, don't you do it, Fresh Baitz. Don't you do it.
That fucking live scope is out of control. The features on this thing.
It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
I got to tell you, so I think it's also just as a little extra, Fresh Baitz extra. If you haven't seen this, go through our reels on our Instagram page and go through. There's one where I took an audio clip from Wu-Tang Clan, and it's just somebody with the camera. I forget who it was. It might have been Nate. I don't know who it was. Or was it you, Joe? It might have been you, Joe. And you would pan around, and Tony from Fresh Baitz is standing with like an unplugged in set of headphones, and he's like, just like dancing to the music that's not playing. Yeah. And I'm like, this is fucking great. I like those dudes. They're good, so funny sons of bitches.
Yeah, they're solid.
Awesome guys. Yeah, I think we're going to have much more really, really cool shit coming up that's going to be involving Fresh Baitz. But in the meantime, you guys need to go get yourself some Hellamites. Do it. Whether you're drop shotting them or whether you're throwing them on a Ned rig, trust me, go to.
Yep.
And it is such a nice bonus that they're local.
Oh, it really is.
This innovative, fantastic bait company right down the road. It's always a bonus for me when whenever we can say, hey, these are our fucking guys.
Their packaging's awesome too.
I love it. The packaging's great. I just put a big Fresh Baitz sticker on the yak. Like
Did ya?
just yesterday.
Awesome.
And I realized I think the glue on one of my 3 bell stickers on one of them because it's MIA. I don't know where it went, if the wind took it or what. But the other one is still nice and strong.
There might be some. Lauren can confirm this with me down the road, but I did pass along the source of our Jigs and Big stickers, and hopefully
I remember that.
Yeah, hopefully 3 Bells might be looking into that. And I thought about this because I raised an eyebrow last week. Gravy had mentioned after I said I don't think I've heard of one fading, and he said the one on his wife's car faded.
Yeah,
we've been interacting with Gravy for a while. I'm wondering if he got one of our older batch of stickers,
first wave,
DOG.
From 20. These were not our originals. Where did we get our original batch of stickers? Didn't you get them or did I get them?
I did them. I think I forget actually where we got them. I think it was a mail order thing. So
it was. I know exactly which company it was. I think you and I talked. Was it the one that always gives you free hot sauce?
It might have been.
Yeah,
that sounds like it fits.
That would definitely get my attention.
Yeah,
and I would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's a different print style. The ones that we have now. So yeah, Gravy. We have them in spades. The one that we have now, that we've had for like the last year or so, is a really good vinyl. It's just durable as shit. It's great. So we'll get you one of those.
Yep.
Can't have the wife's car looking all,
all faded and shit. No.
Oh, hold on. Gravy sent me an Instagram message. I saw it come through. Let's see what we got. Is it a picture of the faded sticker? It is.
He ran out to the car just to get this sticker.
He ran out to the car just to get the sticker. Yeah, I think this is.
Oh, and he has 5 from the show. He said, "What 5?" So Gravy's pilfering all our Jigs and Big stickers that are meant for the masses when he can just call us up and get one.
I think Gravy was at the 100th show. And I think we're giving stickers out there, so it's quite possible.
Okay.
It's quite possible.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because that one actually does look like one of the newer ones. It doesn't look like one of the old style ones. By the way, before we get into the tournament stuff, did anybody catch the fucking April Fool's post I threw on Instagram this week?
Yes, that was. It got me. I was like, "What the? Haha! I get it."
It got everybody. So stupid. So wholesome. LiveScope. What do you think?
Oh yes, that one got me.
I think you're fucking hilarious, Bobby.
LiveScope just told me I'm hilarious. It's done deal.
Done deal. Excellent. Yeah, that was a good one, man.
Oh yeah, that was fucking funny. And for those that didn't see it, it's a picture just saying like, basically, I actually this is another post where I had found it and then I had reposted it using the repost app. It's basically a picture of just text. It says the best April Fool's Day prank, and it's got on the bottom the indicator as if there are multiple pictures, and it says in the top right hand corner 1 of 6, and you go to scroll and it goes nowhere. Gotcha. Oh, I am like a goddamn child. Like Excellent. A child, I'm telling you.
You know what's even worse too? I think before you sent that, I had seen it somewhere.
Oh,
and I tried to do it there, and then I tried it again or something. I don't remember if it was you that got me or the first time I saw it, but one of the two.
Yeah, I got a number of people. I know I got Ellie. I know I got a Wild Bill. I'm pretty sure I got Rodney pretty good too. So.
Excellent.
These are the lives that we live. Is it drum time?
I think it's drum time. I think so.
Drum time.
Welcome to the first Dothraki wedding in April of 2023. Drinks are at the table. Murders are in the arena. Have a good time. Well, we had our first MAKB tournament of the year, and it was fucking brutal. So I'm just going to let everybody know who won. And I think off the top of my head, I have all the information. I did not research fucking any of this because there was actually a little bit of how do I put this? Some logistical and administrative decisions that were made regarding the finish of this tournament.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, due to a few fish being DQ'd here and there. So it was Chris Slater that ended up winning, and his total was in the high 30s. It was pretty bad. There were 3 fish that he bagged. Paulo Di Moraes had the lunker, which was like 20.25, nice fish. And then Jeremy Andrews had lunker pickerel. So there you go. Right. That was a rough fucking day on the water. I don't ever want to fucking fish like that again, but these are the days that make you better anglers, folks.
True.
Next up, chronic trips, chugging along. We are just about to break the 20 barrier for anglers, which you guys know every time we get 10 people in there, the number of payouts increases. Right now, I think Nate and I each have 1 fish in, and we're tied at 2 points. I haven't looked today. I think he has a new largemouth, and I think he has a 19-inch largemouth in there. At least he sent me a text today anyways. But jump in. Still got another week. Again, new for this year. You can only register for the first week of the month and the 2 weeks prior. So we are in 3rd week of registration. You still have time to jump in. We did that this year to make sure that nobody's jumping in on the 2nd week. We all appreciate you giving us 2 weeks of spot time to get those fish in, but it's kind of not right for us to be taking that money because it's really difficult to catch up after 2 weeks. All right. So please jump in. You got 5 more days. We'd love to see you for Chronic Trips and Jigs and Bigs next month. Jigs and Bigs registration starts on the 15th, so we might as well start pumping that too. If you guys are interested,
it's coming.
15th, it's coming up. Fish wherever, fish whenever during the month. Use bait, use a boat. We don't give a fuck. Use the shore. Don't use bait. I don't care. You just have to have a catch board. You have to have the identifier, and you have to have Fishing Chaos to submit it properly.
Yep.
That's all I can say about that. Joe, what do you got from the big boat world?
Big boat world. So I have my first one coming up on the 15th. That's going to be with ABA, American Bass Association. So that's my first one. Unfortunately, it kind of is the same day as Berkshire Bass's first one. So unfortunately, I have to go with ABA because it's points and not just an open. So that first one's going to be on Quinsigamon in Worcester. Going to go pre-fish that this week. And I'll let you know. So I'll be able to talk how pre-fishing went and how bad I'm going to do the following week. Or how good. We'll see.
Yeah, it could be great. You know?
Quinsig usually beats me up.
Yeah, fuck that place.
You mentioned Quinsig, and I had just this week gotten turned on to a new fishing app called On Water. Now, what On Water does that's interesting, it's kind of like, have you guys ever heard of the On X app? There's one for hunting, off-roading, one for backcountry.
Yes.
It's a little bit similar where it shows you maps, but it also lays out the private property lines and things like that, which is very, very cool. But when I go through, this is what's interesting, and this had me all fucked up because I thought initially, Sean, that your tournament was on Quinsig. Is there somebody doing a Quinsigamon tournament?
Joe.
No. I mean, I'm talking in MAKB, like the central.
Oh no, that was where our championship was last year.
Oh, that's where it was last year. Okay, so I was looking at it, and it's like one of the only lakes that are in Massachusetts. Like Lake Quinsigamond, Wachusett Reservoir is listed in here, Quabbin's in there. But like Congomon's not in there, and there's a bunch of stuff. So I think this is one of these apps where like data gets submitted regularly. But I thought it was interesting that Quinsig was in there, and it's pretty slick. Like you look at the Quinsig breakdown, and it shows you all of like the private property, all that stuff. It's very, very cool. I was like, that's interesting, man. I'll check this out. Go ahead, Joe. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I figured.
No, that's it. That's basically all I got. You know, I'll be pre-fishing all week. Hopefully a couple nights, and then this weekend before Easter, I'll hit it hard Saturday.
That's right.
Put in a full day there. Hopefully,
Easter is next week. I can't believe that.
Yeah,
this year, like I've been like, come on, spring, let's get a move on, let's go, and it's chugging along. I need the weather to start fucking getting this shit.
Yeah, the weather's looking pretty promising coming up within the next week. So
this week,
thank God.
Warmer with a little bit of rain, but we're getting there.
Yep.
I think I might freaking take the yak out for a send this week.
Let me know.
Do it.
Yeah.
I gotta go out with you. I gotta fine tune my shit. The more I'm out there, the better.
Might be a good Congamon Junior outing.
Or regular Congamon. Fuck.
Could be regular Congamon could work as well.
Yep. So we're at 19 anglers for that Chronic Trips right now.
That's
so if we can
awesome.
Get if we can get 2 more, that'll bring us into the next number of that'll add a payout. So that'll bring up to 4 payouts versus 3. Right now we're at 3. 2 more people. We're at 4. If you guys want to jump in, like I said, you got time. You'll be hearing this on the 4th, right?
Yeah.
2nd, 3rd, 4th.
Yep.
So you'll have time to jump in. Again, as of the 2nd, there have been 2. Total 2 fish submitted for this tournament. Nobody's starting in the hole. I did see, of course, Jerry Multi-House jumped in. So let's go, Jerry. Let's do this shit. So that's all I got. I do want to add one more thing, non-tournament related. So that setting is the gain. It's the TVG on the live scope.
Is that what that is?
Okay.
That's what it was, yeah. So there you go.
Chrissy Fishing chimes in. She goes, I was at Congamon today. I'll send in my FTG. I almost forgot.
And excellent. You know what? Chrissy, I think after I hope this doesn't happen at all to her, but I after the last FTG we had from the last tournament of the year for MAKB.
Yep.
Female anglers have a whole different dimension of FTGs. Submit them all.
Oh, yeah.
Submit them.
Yeah, we want to hear them all.
We want to hear the condescending shit. We want to hear the mansplaining.
Yep.
Fucking fire it up. Let's hear about
we want to talk that, hey, we went fishing. You're obviously into me. All that shit. Yeah, all of it. Let us know.
Yep. Let us know. And honestly, the goal is we don't want to hear about anything. We hope nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly.
But we know that it does.
We know that it does.
So let us know.
Yeah. Friggin' A. All right, guys, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We got AJ from Battlefish Charters. He's got some great stuff to talk about. Amazing conversation that I had with him. He's got a great operation happening in the Saranac Lake area. You're not going to want to miss this, guys. And when we get back after that, we're going to wrap this show up with a little look back. I'm actually going to dive into my week of trivia. Kind of talk about, I'm going to start putting some of that stuff in the back end of the show so that those folks that do play trivia and like to hear all that shit, they can come and listen to the show. And I'm also putting a code word in there for an extra 10 points if you listen to the show. It's worth it. All right, let's go ahead. We'll take a short break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Jigs and Bigs is your favorite fishing podcast, right? Why not show the world how much you love the show while directly supporting us? We have men's and ladies' shirts, hoodies, and a variety of hats. We even have a waterproof outdoor Bluetooth speaker so you can listen to your favorite podcast while out on the water if you like. Check out jigsandbigs.com/shop to visit the store and gear yourself up. If you really can't get enough of this show, consider becoming a jighead and joining our Patreon. It's a subscription that gives you exclusive access to recording sessions that allow you to engage with us as we record the show. We also have some exclusive content there just for our jigheads and even have some special promo codes. Space is limited, so join now at jigsandbigs.com. Finally, if you're local to our area in Western Massachusetts, consider checking out the Western Mass Fishing Report, posted weekly at northeastwildwoman.com. We have amazing contributors providing great content and info for local conditions and what's been going on and working recently. Jigs and Bigs, so much more than just two lightly roasted hippies trapped in the 90s arguing on the internet about fishing.
Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef back here with another interview. We got a good one here. We got AJ Beaudoin with us, and we're talking with AJ. And AJ is up in the Saranac Lakes area of New York, and as he claims, he's got a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of stuff going on here. And AJ, the connection was made with Sean the Fisherman, I believe, at one of the expos, maybe the New York Boat Show. I want to say, does that ring a bell?
Yep.
Okay, all right. I wasn't 100% sure, But that's freaking awesome, man. So let's talk about, we got a number of things actually we can go over with this interview here. AJ owns Battlefish Charters, and we're definitely going to jump into that because he does some guiding and he's got charter services available. And I'm assuming this is one of many irons in the fire. But AJ, let's talk first about how you discovered your love for the outdoors, the passion for it and everything. How was it that you discovered the outdoors? Who kind of like brought you to it? And then how do we ramp up to the point now where you've got so much stuff going on?
Oh, geez. Well, I was born and raised a farm kid, so I grew up outside. It was just natural for me to come back. After high school, I joined the Army. I retired from that after 6 years, and I was just looking for some peace in my life. So I took my wife on vacation to the Adirondack Mountains, and everybody kept raving about this college, Paul Smith College. So while we were up here on vacation, we just kind of checked it out, and they told me I could get a degree in fish and wildlife management. And I was pretty much sold by the campus being on 6,000 acres and a body of water right there. It was just unbelievably cool. It was beautiful. And they told me that the winter population at the campus was like 300 students.
Wow.
So that really sold me on the area. And, I'd get to go to labs and stuff. And I had a 6-year-old son at the time. They'd let him come and trap frogs or catch squirrels with us. And it was just like every boy's dream.
That's awesome.
So I was doing some guiding, just a little bit of stuff, not really for money, but like taking my professors' families out fishing and friends out fishing.
Smart man.
And it really started with the ice fishing. The ice fishing was just key. That's kind of how Battlefish got its start. I'm a retired veteran, and I wanted to teach people to not battle the demons every day, but go out and go fishing instead.
Gotcha.
Perspective and how you look at it. So just go.
That's awesome, man. It's amazing that a program like that would allow you to involve your son, and that's thinking ahead of the game. Well, in a way, it's kind of like old school thinking, but also like that's way ahead of the curve of what you would normally get for any type of a collegiate program or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Paul Smith is a really small student body. It's a really small school.
Yeah.
And it's very family oriented. That's really awesome.
That's kudos to them. I think if more, colleges in general could think that much more progressively, that's amazing, man. So now let's talk about the guide services and stuff. Let's talk about your, kind of what you're familiar with and what type of an experience somebody can expect when they connect with you.
Okay. Well, from a guide aspect, I really have two different angles.
Yep.
My open water season, which spring through fall, everything that falls in between. If there's open water, I will fish it.
That's awesome.
And I'll fish it from a kayak. So we have all Jackson kayaks here. Currently have 2 of them, and most of them are pedal driven. Some of them have little motors on them.
Yeah.
And I float the backcountry. So I'll put in a little creek here in town, and we'll float the Saranac River into the Mackenzie Mountain Wilderness area. We always see more wildlife than people. Like there's nothing out there. Sometimes you'll see a moose or some bear. There's just eagles and taking eagles from you. I mean, eagles coming to take fish from you right out of the water. It's really quite a sight. And the smallmouth bass fishing's awesome. There's also walleye, pike, rainbow river. So
you're talking about language, dude.
Yeah. I absolutely love just spending either 4 or 8 hours on the river and not seeing another person.
That's the greatest.
It's so peaceful.
Yeah.
I usually float that river about twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, unless I get a group that wants to go on a full day trip, and then I'll have lunch delivered to us from the best restaurant in town. He'll drop it off at the halfway point. You float under a bridge. He drops it from the bag. Keep on going.
Really?
Yeah, we can even stop at a lean-to. There's a lean-to built off the river.
Yeah.
We could just hit that up, take a break, stretch our legs, eat lunch, have a fire if you want. Now and I fish a ton of lakes too.
Yep.
I don't not just strictly to the river. If you want to go lake trout fishing, we're not going to find that in the river. So we'll change gears and we'll go to Upper Saranac or Moose Pond or, I could fish every single day up here and never run out of places to fish.
That's awesome. Upstate New York is amazing for that. Like it really has amazing fisheries. I feel like at least from folks where I am, and it's not far. I'm in Western Massachusetts. I'm just east of the Berkshires. It's not far. I mean, it's well worth the drive.
It sure is. It sure is. The other angle I have, I guess, is ice fishing.
Yep.
I'm New York State's #1 ice fishing guide. I wish there was somebody to tell me that I was the country's #1 ice fishing guide. Put 300 plus folks on the water this year already. I do a ton of field trips. I do a lot of field trips, like ecology classes, wilderness classes. But high schools will send their student classes to me, and I'll put them right out at Paul Smith's. So not only do they get a tour of the campus, Paul Smith's provides me a couple professors and the Fisheries Society. They go over a quick class for the kids, and the kids all learn how to fishing. I have 7 ice huts, underwater cameras, a Garmin Live Scope, a couple hundred tip-ups, and it is just, I make it comfortable for everybody. Heated hot floor mats, the whole 9 yards, and it's super productive, especially in a field trip. You get 20, 40 kids out there, all of them with 100 traps out on the ice. I mean, some flags start flying and kids are running everywhere. I usually love to do a big bonfire on the ice as well. And this year we moved into doing what we're calling the Ice B&B. So you can actually camp right out on the ice in our little ice village. I want to find a way to put a beer hut in there, but I got to dance around the liquor laws. You know?
Of course, yeah.
And I want to make one of them an ice bath. I guess they're like all the rage now, so you can hop in one of the small huts, and it's just a cut hole straight through the ice, so you can hop in the water right on the beach, hop out, and hop right back into your heated hut, warm back up.
For those members of the Polar Bear Club, yeah, there you go.
There's a lot of people doing it now. I had one person ask me to do it, and I was like, I don't know. I got to check with my insurance on this.
Yeah, no, that's smart. You got to make sure because, you never know. But I'll tell you what, placing it like that right in the beach where you would normally swim at a depth that's not like insane, you can jump in and jump out. That's not too bad. I like your setup. What was that?
Where you can sit down and your shoulders are still above water.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I love the setup, the idea of the ice B&B, because I've been saying to Sean forever, it's so crazy. So our winter here, where we are in Western Massachusetts, we've had at best like maybe a couple inches of ice, primarily skim ice for most of the season, and then I think twice the water would open up and then freeze back up within 7-8 days. And it was just never really good ice for ice fishing. There were some people out there doing it, but I think they're nuts. I'm just one of those folks that I need to, in my mind, I'm looking like, I think Sean says he's safe at about 6 inches. He's like the anxiety is gone at 6 inches. I need 8 or 9. I'm a big boy. You know what I mean? It's all mental. But, I remember ice fishing when I was 12, 13, 14 years old with my dad. And we would go to the local lakes around here, and there was always a bonfire on the ice. And people would have trucks. They'd pull their trucks out on the ice because it was a different time. You guys get ice pretty routinely over there. Like, you can almost count on it still.
Oh, we still have almost 14 inches.
Still?
In a good, year, 26 inches of ice.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love the idea. But like I said, I was talking with Sean and I said, I think the idea, I would love to just put a reservation in for an ice shack, go to a shanty, stay there for a week and record content. I'd rather do this like what you're talking about in the ice village. Interview guests that are there. That's amazing. The ice village. I gotta talk with Sean and Joe about this. This could be amazing. AJ, you might have just opened up all kinds of new ice fishing adventures.
Oh, good.
That's awesome.
I hope. Not to let the cat out of the bag, but we just invested in a 12-foot aluminum ice shack. It's on skis. It was a $7,000 investment for us, but we're gonna hopefully make it our ice castle for next year.
That's awesome, man. Good for you, dude. And it's so funny. Like, I'm always curious about talking with guides in the area, people that offer guide services and charters. When you're going out and you're accustomed to open water fishing, like, and you're up north, down south, we fished with Caleb Bell at Chickamauga, and he's got access year round. His program might change a little bit, like certain parts of the year. He's like, certain parts of the year, we're going to throw live shad. And, other parts of the year, it's going to be a little bit different. And, we're going to go in different areas accordingly, but he's able to get there year round. The fact that you're able to adapt and put so much thought into, cause it sounds like your ice fishing venture is not a secondary venture. Like it is equal. It's 1-to-1, which I think is awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Ice fishing is definitely as productive, if not more productive than the kayak fishing. And it's simply because you put up to 40 people in the water at once.
Yeah. Once you put
do the kayak trips.
Exactly. It's all about the numbers at that point. You put enough tip ups in the water and enough people to watch them. Boom. You're hooking up.
So we sure are. And we caught a number of fish that way this year, which was really great.
And that is awesome. So let's talk as far as your fishing. Where are you as far as, are you more of a current guy? Are you more of a river fisherman? Or do you like large lakes that you can break down over time? Or do you prefer to just kind of pond hop and go from spot to spot to spot and see what's up?
Jeez. Man, I have a passion for all three. It's hard to make me pick.
I'm with you.
But I've been telling my wife for a few years, though, I think my favorite place is on that river. Whether fishing for myself or I have clients, you pass by every single fish in the river. You see something new every time you go down.
Yeah.
Whether spring and all the wildlife are out there with their little ones, or it's fall and the leaves are changing. It always seems to be a little bit different.
Yep.
And it's always just so peaceful. You don't ever have to worry about a big boat ripping by you. Or any of the other nuances of the big lake. A wind can come pick you up and push you to the other side of a big lake.
Yeah, it's true.
Not pushing you up the current of a river.
No.
So I think if I had to spend my days on one of them, I'd spend it on the rivers.
No, I hear you, man. And there's something special about river fishing. It took me a while to really appreciate it, but just like the diversity in species and also like it changes so much. Like you eventually grow to appreciate that. You fish, one stretch of river and then you go back 2 or 3 months later and so much can change, depending on what drifts in or what moves out. It's absolutely bananas. And I like the idea of catching some of those giant smallies up there. I think that's a good idea.
That's a lot.
I'm telling you, man, this segment is just going to cost me so much money. It's what it's ultimately going to get down to. My wife's not going to be happy about that, but we'll see. Maybe
we're going.
Yeah. It could be the situation. Who knows? Now, as far as, when you're fishing yourself, what's your confidence bait, short list look like? Like what are you getting it done with if you need to?
Oh, geez.
And
I do a ton of tournament fishing, kayak, and you will never see me without a salamander and a Ned rig.
Oh, yeah.
I feel this, but I know that I didn't. I will throw a salamander, especially bass fishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking for ollies just after the spawn or a largemouth. If I'm fishing the river, I can just drag the darn thing down the river.
That's true. It's kind of like trolling at that point. You just kind of go with it. Yeah.
I mean, for the people who don't know, I guess, from a science angle, bass don't love to eat salamanders, but salamanders love to eat bass eggs. So they actually grind them up in the back of their throat, which gives you extra time to set the hook. And they'll typically go spit those salamanders out away from their nest after they grind them up real good. So I can never be found without a salamander because you never know. If it's a little bit warmer in the year and I'm still bass fishing, oh geez, I love big huge spinner baits.
Yep,
it's hard, big spinner bait, some blades on it, big old trailer. There's something to be said for frogging too, or a whopper plopper. Geez. Mm-hmm. I could talk all day about baits.
Oh,
it just depends on what you're going for and what time of the year it is. That it'll change on a weekly basis, I suppose.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, man. I'm sure. And that's the thing up there. Like you've got pike and you've got walleye and stuff. So like your confidence baits can change based on what you're targeting for sure. I never realized that about salamanders though. I always just kind of chalked it up to of course they're in the water, they're going to be part of the forage, but I never realized that they don't necessarily want to target them, but it's to protect their eggs. That makes sense, which I suppose is exactly the reason why I hear so many people talk about throwing lizards in the spring around the spawn.
Exactly. Yep. If you see a little bed out there, I just toss a lizard right into it.
No kidding.
And thing up fast and it's not.
We have you may have actually met him at that boat show, Nelson DaCosta. He's he and Sean are BFFs. Nelson has a little nickname. We call him the Lizard King because that's his go-to.
Nice.
In fact,
Well, he sounds good.
oh yeah, he's a good guy. He's all right. He is the best guy to ice fish with. Because because he knows how to do it. It's like for us, ice fishing is a little bit more of a social gathering, which I mean, I love that. I love that about it.
He brings the beer. That's where I thought that was going.
Oh, that's it. No. It's either what he'll do is he'll bring his father Manny, who will bring the Portuguese wine, which is out of this world. But I mean, everybody it's just this amazing spread of it's unbelievable. The crew, we went out last winter, and we only got out once, but I had an absolute blast. It was actually kind of funny because we fished a lake where I grew up. And this is a lake, one of the lakes I had never fished before. I'd actually, for the longest time, thought we couldn't fish there. There's a sister lake right next to it that you just used to get hammered. But we fished this one spot, and it was absolutely out of this world. Had such a good time. I didn't catch shit other than some cold toes, but I was down for it. 100% down for it.
As long as you had a good time, that's all that matters.
Oh, I agree. 100%. 100%. I love it. I was just having a conversation with a friend of the show, one of our YouTuber friends, Becca. She and I were throwing around the idea about doing like a send, like to Chickamauga, like going on some trips. And she does truck camping. And I've recently gotten into the world of truck camping, which I kind of love. So it's quite possible you will see us up in your area, sleeping out of the back of a truck.
I'm down. I'll give you a couple good spots.
I love it. It sounds awesome, man. How about bucket list places that you would love to fish in your lifetime? Like, what's that list look like? Where would you love to travel to?
You know, my wife and I just went to the Florida Keys and we caught some tarpon and some permit. Boy, I'd love to go back there and figure out what else is in those waters, because it was just every time we pulled up, it was something else. It was really fun. I'd love to find some marlin. I mean, that would be like top of my list. I've never bass fished in Florida. I would like to go down there, and I see these guys pulling out like these 8-pounders, and it just looks on. Love to try that sometime.
And to go in like January and do it, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Redfish. I'd like to hit a redfish from a kayak just to let it pull me around a little while.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. And I have plans on going out with one of my YouTube friends, Paulie Martin, the Get Real Bass Fishing Crew.
Oh, okay.
We're going to do some striper fishing and some bluefish fishing
nice.
Off the Long Island Sound. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. You guys, you're going to have an absolute blast. Blast. Taking a kayak in the ocean is something else. Like, it was the scariest thing I have ever done. It was the most afraid I've ever been in my kayak in my entire life. But at the same time, it was also unbelievably exhilarating. I caught minimal fish. I think I caught a sea robin and the smallest sea bass I've ever seen in my life.
That's okay.
But it was like, someone recently said it was like a washing machine, like just being in there. And that's exactly what it is. It's just unbelievable. I have a big boat. Like my kayak is a native Titan 13.5. This is it's a bass boat for one. I'm a big guy and I can stand up confidently. I wasn't standing up on the ocean, no way. But there were moments where I was holding onto the bottom of the seat just to hold myself to it. And, I would have a boat coming by me. I'd get their wake and I was over by the outflow of this power plant, like this magic recipe. All of a sudden I was looking down like it was a roller coaster. And I'm like, I'm going to die.
Uh-oh.
We made it though. I owe everything to that boat that I didn't take a swim that day. 100%. What about now? Let's talk about like more from the guiding standpoint. Let's talk about like, how would you recommend somebody that's a first timer that's like this, that's listening to this show and says, God, that sounds really cool. I'd love to do either an ice trip or maybe do one of these kayak trips along the river or in the big lake, or if someone's thinking about doing this for the first time, like what's the timeline look like, and what would you recommend they do as far as nailing down dates and lodging and all that stuff? Like, what's it generally like the experience like for them?
Okay. Let's see. I have a lot of different ends on the spectrum here of clients. Some that have never fished before. Yep. Some of them who love fishing. This is all they do.
Yep.
From either angle, there's a ton of places to stay up here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whether you want to stay on the water at like the Waterfront Lodge or at Ampersand Bay, a nice resort, or there's just a million Airbnbs up here. If you if you give me a call, my number's on my website. I'll point you to a good Airbnb. But our town is just full of them, so full of them that I think that it's affecting the hotels a little bit.
Yep.
My website, battlefishcharter.com. We'll give you all the information that I have on my guide services, and just call the number if you wanna book a trip. You can find me on Fishing Booker or Guidesly. There's a couple different things where you can book right online. Want to take that route? But since COVID started, I stopped taking deposits. My website has not stopped taking deposits, but I did. So if you call me, I won't take a deposit because I just don't like refunding them. If you have a problem, can't make it, just let me know.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I try to take care of absolutely everything that people need. I typically tell them to dress for the weather outside.
Yep.
So ice fishing, wear a jacket, wear boots. If it looks like it's going to be a rainy day in the river, maybe bring a poncho. Wear shoes that can get wet. I tend to try to keep everybody dry, even if we're kayak fishing. I know it sounds funny, but everybody almost always stays dry. But if you bring a pair of shoes or footwear that you're not worried about getting wet, that makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
I tell people to bring a bottle of water, sunscreen, and bug spray if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
And I handle absolutely everything else. I'll have the boats in the water, ready to go. If you want to float the river, we'll float to the end. Or the halfway point, and my wife will be there with the truck to pick everybody up and take them back.
That's awesome. That's a good setup. And I think that's like you nailed it. Like it's for somebody who's never fished or somebody who does this. And I think, in my opinion, I think that taking advantage of a guide services in a body of water, if you're traveling and you're because a lot of times this is recreation, you know what I mean? Like, although, have you had anybody show up that's like in a monthly tournament or anything, and it's just like, yeah, we're gonna go and fish, and I'm gonna catch. Like, has anybody done that? Because we do our multi-species tournament, and actually, that's with our rules, it's completely like legal to do in our tournaments. Is to go out and go with a charter and get on multi-species and everything and enter them from there. Have you ever had anybody do that?
Not from the kayak standpoint. I've had them do it for those big ice fishing derbies. Now we'll sometimes get 2,000 or 3,000 people out on a lake for one little ice derby, and then people are just flocking. It's absolutely horrible. This year I actually set up 7 ice huts and put mine in the middle, so it looked like we had a lot of people around us. Because as soon as people see that Battlefish Charter sticker, I mean, they just right next to you, right on top of you.
They know,
They know, this year, it was 40 below zero up here for the Northern Challenge. It was absolutely horrible. 3:30 in the morning, my heater caught on fire.
Oh.
It was my buddy heater, brand new buddy heater, just kicked it out the door. Thank goodness my hut didn't go up.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing I could think to do, because it was a propane tank that was shooting flames.
Oh.
Only thing I could think to do is put my bait bucket water on it. So I killed all my bait, 40 below. That froze immediately.
Oh yeah, now you're throwing ice.
Yep. And then my wife was nice enough to answer the phone at 4:00 in the morning and bring me a new heater.
Oh my God, you got a good one, man.
Oh, you're telling me.
The fact that she picks everybody up with the truck at the end of the river float, I was floored then. Wow.
Yeah, she does quite a bit more.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome, man. I love it. And now let's talk now you mentioned you have a lot of irons in the fire. Let's go through some of those other irons. Like, what is it that you have going on aside from the charter and the guide services?
Okay. So I do a lot of tournament fishing, both recreational, I guess. I love to fish them. but I also host my own series of tournaments, and it's all at around up here. And that's been going really well. It's just a kayak or canoe. You can do it with a friend. I do a team tournament, and we have just 5 different bodies. 2 of them are rivers, the Racket River, the Saranac River.
Yeah.
We fish Tupper Lake, Saranac Lake, and then St. Regis up by Paul Smith's. And the winner every time pulls 100 inches of bass. It's crazy. Every single time. I mean, you'll get 20 or 30 guys out there, and we'll get the Slay Nation crew to come in last year, and they had their $10,000 kayaks. We had some local kid beat him in a canoe using a rock as an anchor. That was just, it's really unbelievable and awesome. It's not a professional league, you know, like the KFL was, I guess. But it's more or less just trying to get people entertained in it and into the sport. I let them borrow kayaks if they need it, which is nice.
That's awesome.
And on that, we also do a New York statewide ice fishing derby. So anywhere in New York State, anytime throughout the 2.5 months. And we give away a ton of door prizes. Last year, I gave away a marlin fishing trip with Kevin from Wounded Waters down in Florida.
Holy shit.
This year, we gave away Eskimo float suits. The local resort gave away a boat rental, a $600 boat rental for the day.
Oh, my God.
Giving away some crazy stuff. And I've made it all door prizes, except for the whoever wins and gets the bag of money. Everything else has just been given away as a door prize, so everybody has an equal chance at winning, and there's no trying to cheat the system, you know?
That's amazing.
I know. I get a ton of people telling me how they can cheat the score system, and I mean, I get that there's ways to do it, and I've seen YouTube videos on how people are doing it, so I'm well aware of how to do it. And I guess I just always have my eyes open for it. So you're not on a door prize, and if you're in those top 3 money spots, you definitely have the eyes on you. So
for sure. And it's funny.
Right thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. I find that, and I do this because like in my career, I host game shows. So I've learned if there's one thing people love, there's a certain population of the general public that love the idea of just being able to cheat the system. I found the loophole. Ha ha ha. I'm going to do such and such. Or they're so driven to try to find that's what they make their primary focus is finding that loophole if there is one. And it's like at that point you're sucking the fun out of it for yourself, Just go and have fun, enjoy yourself. Don't worry about that. It's absolutely crazy. And when they tell you, that's the best. So like, anybody could just cheat by doing such and such. And you're like, I'm well aware. I deal with this every single day. I go and I figure out what the possibilities are. I'm completely aware. And you're right. You have to keep eyes on them at all the time.
Yeah.
That's what makes a good director.
Yeah. Ironically, the guy who told me this photoshopped all 5 of his fish pictures.
Of course.
And tried to. He didn't put a photo, an ID in the photo, so he just tried to photo his 5 fish. I'm like, we can't do this, man. I'm just so. Could have pulled those fish off of the internet. They could have been caught any single day.
Yep.
It's basically a photo competition. You can't Photoshop it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be an organic photo. And it's not that hard. Believe me, there's been plenty of times where I myself have gone out for our own tournaments and I have left my identifier behind. And sometimes I'm lucky enough to have a marker. In fact, there was one time where I actually wrote on my hand, this is nasty. I wrote the identifier in orange garlic marker. On Spike It on my hand because I'm like, hey, I gotta enter this fish. And I don't remember if it was DQ'd or not because it was very hard to read, but I tried. You know what I mean? Like that's all you can do sometimes. And it's talk about motivation for that next day to make sure that you have your identifier and have all of your ducks in a row. Tournament fishing is crazy. It's not for everybody. It's not for me. I do our tournaments just because in a way, it's like my own little way to kind of like fish alongside the listeners of the show. So I kind of love it for that. And it kind of gamifies things the way that we do it. But I think the name of the game is no matter what, you got to keep fishing fun. You've got to be enjoying it, And if that means competition, go for it. It sounds like your event has got to be like jam packed at the end with those door prizes and everything. You've got that down to a science.
I'm really trying. We try to host a big party at one of the sponsors. He owns a bar restaurant, so we're allowed to give everything away there. The turnout's been getting better. This was our third year doing it, and we had 25 anglers on the ice this year.
Nice.
Which doesn't sound great, but we're the only area in New York that really got sufficient ice this year.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody register from Western New York this year because they just never had. I had very little from downstate, and basically, 22 or 23 anglers right from our local area. Huh. So lucky them, they won all the door prizes, I guess.
Hey, that's awesome. But, that's the thing. It's all about building, and that 25 anglers this year might be 30, 35. Next year might be 50. You might be hitting 100 within a couple of years. And once the word kind of gets out, that's the name of the game, is just consistency. It means so much. It's crazy. Last night I did a trivia night for a local concert venue, and they hit me up. They want to do a monthly residency, and I normally don't do that. I keep it all weekly. I find it works the best. So, I wasn't able to give them the residency discount, so they're paying a little bit more of a premium. I roll into this place, and normally I'm pulling between. On a quiet night, it's about a dozen teams playing. On a busy night, it could be 40 to 50. These are big events with a lot of people. Generally a 20, 25 team turnout is not rare. I had 4 teams pop in last night. Now I did 2 shows. I did a 9 p.m. too that had 25 teams, but I did, and that one is regularly scheduled at 7:00. We bumped it to make room for this monthly event. So I get there, and we had 4 teams rolling. I couldn't believe it. But my mentality, and I talked to the management on my way out. I said, listen, this is a building process, and it's going to be a little bit more slowed down because we're looking at it monthly versus weekly. It's not like I'm going to be back here in 7 days, and we can build on this. So we have 4 weeks to do some good promotion. Part of the issue is every single team that did show up that night, there were people I knew from other events. So they directly came out because I did my job. I promoted. I remember on my way out, I was like, they said that they did posters. They wanted my artwork. They wanted posters. I walked around. AJ, they put up, this is probably the perfect size, this mag draft package. They put up a calendar of events that was this size, and it had strips of every type of event that was happening with the dates. I had my event listed right here in like 5 or 6 different areas of the venue. Nobody's reading that. I'm like, you guys are crazy. So I'm going to come in there next week with full size, 18 by 24 posters, my face on them, promoting the hell out of it. But the cool thing is for prizes, they want to give away concert tickets.
Okay.
I think that's amazing. So I got to actually. What's that?
I'm not saying no to that.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's better than a gift card for free fried pickles or something like that. I mean, I will definitely take concert tickets. I don't care who it is. I'm at that age where I'm like, yeah, let's party. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So yeah, it is. It's like it, and I said to him, it's about building, and for events and for same thing, social media, your guide business. I'm sure you went through this too. You started off with a handful of clients, and referrals are powerful. That kind of helps you grow. You get folks that have a good experience. They tell all their friends, they're like, oh, this guy AJ up in the Saranac area. Oh my God, you got to go. And Battlefish Charters, you got to go. It's amazing. We had such a good time. We stopped and we had lunch at this one rest area, or they're out on the ice and they're set up and then it grows and grows and grows. How many years have you been doing this again?
5 years.
5 years, man. And it sounds like you're really, really accomplished within those 5 years. That's pretty awesome.
I've been fortunate because I retired from the Army that I could just dedicate my time to this. I didn't have to do their job. My retirement can support me and my family. And I've just been able to give all my time and energy to this. Yeah. Really.
That's awesome, man. Good for you, dude. You're killing it. I'm stoked for you. And we're going to definitely get together and fish. I'm going to talk with Sean and Joe, and we'll make something happen, man. We're definitely going to be in your area. We got to take a good look at the schedule, specifically for Sean, because he's got so much going on for tournaments. And I'm sure you've got bookings like crazy too. So we'll juggle everything and find something that works. Might end up in the fall or something. But if nothing else, I think we're definitely going to end up on the ice this year.
Sweet.
All of us.
I would love for that to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a damn good time. We'll have ourselves a blast. Awesome, AJ.
Just kicking around a thought here. I'm a YouTuber named Hunt Chef, and at the Buffalo Sports Show, and he's going to come up here, and we're going to do something on the ice where we catch some rainbow trout or something, and he right there on the ice. And maybe we should make it a whole gang thing.
I would definitely be into that. Absolutely, for sure. It's one thing. If you've listened to our show at all, you know that the boys at Jigs and Bigs like to eat. So
so do I.
And we also come stocked with some provisions as well to make it a real good time. So that sounds freaking great, dude. I love that idea. Do me a favor though, AJ, and just once again for everybody, promote yourself a little bit. Let people know where they can get in touch with you. If you have anything kind of social media that they should be following for anything like that, definitely let people know where you're at.
Okay, cool. So Battlefish Charters or battlefishcharter.com. We're on Instagram, Battlefish Charters LLC, Facebook. We have just got our YouTube channel.
Nice.
We just started that, which has been, I don't know. My son says, "You're so cringe, Dad."
It means you're doing it right. I think that's how I take it.
Exactly. I'll take it. My phone number is all over my website. So you just give me a call if you want to book a trip. I would not try to call me last minute. Some people do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can get you out on the ice or the open water. More often than not, I'm booked up a couple weeks in advance.
Yep.
I'm already this summer. I have very few weekends left.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, like Saturdays are like at a premium between tournament fishing and big groups coming in. We're handling all sorts of parties this year. I know we have one bachelor party on the books. But we can take up to 12 people out at once on the kayaks. And I do have a Jackson kayak tournament sponsorship and part of their regional pro team. So I'm allowed to use any of the boats at the shop. So if we ended up needing 25 boats, I'm sure I can figure it out.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. What a good connection.
Yeah. Jackson's really been an integral part of this whole thing.
Yep.
And the only last thing we didn't talk about, I build all my own fishing rods.
Oh, wait, that's right. You do custom rods.
Yeah, I probably sold close to 400 of them this year.
Holy shit.
American flags have been super popular, but my Bill's Mafia themed rod is like, I sold 50 of them last week at the sports show.
You have a Mafia themed rod?
I have a Bill's Mafia themed rod. All right, here's I'm just starting to work on this bait caster, so
okay,
much on it. But I built a little Mafia grip here. Remember the old Zuba colors?
Oh yeah.
That's the old Zuba.
My God!
I got like some Buffalo Sabres ones that I've started, and the blank on this it's hard to see. I know the blank is like a blueberry blue. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So I do a ton with like American flag designs.
Yep.
People want custom. They just whip up whatever you want, you know. I can't tell you how it's sold. It's just been absolutely crazy.
Yeah, custom rods are something special. You know, it's like that's really, you know, I'll tell you what, I've dropped so many freaking hints to my family for like Father's Day, birthday ideas, things like that. Wow. That's beautiful, man. We're definitely gonna we're gonna be staying in touch for sure. That is freaking killer. This is great, dude. I think, one thing I did want to know about. So you've got this partnership with Jackson that you know, and you've got a fleet of boats that you've got access to. Let's talk about your kayak real quickly. Like when, you know, the one that you're taking out, because I'm sure you're rigged and ready in a totally different way. What's the boat that you're in, and how do you rig it up? What are you using, like, you know, for electronics and everything?
Okay. Well, last year I went and bought myself a brand new Jackson Nar in Tiger Shark, and I was fixing to make that my tournament boat when my wife said, "I'll be taking that and doing some tournament fishing with you."
Oh, wow.
So her boat, which just leads into a million awesome stories of us tournament fishing here. So I ended up last year having to go back to, I had a bite foot drive, and Jackson let me use a little flex drive motor for it. So that was my rig last year. This year I've pre-planned, since I bought Nicole, my wife, a boat last year. I get to buy myself one this year.
There you go.
And I don't think one of them is going to cut it, because I really have two totally different types of fishing styles.
Fair.
So a Blue Sky and the new Coosa X. Hopefully that meets both of my needs. But the Coosa X is going to have an XI3 trolling motor on it.
There you go.
I have Garmin Live Scope, so I can see everything under the water, basically.
Yep.
Obviously, all of my boats are outfitted with my rods, and way too many of those rods. I think I carried like 8 rods on my bite last year. Nicole's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I need quick changes. Just leave me alone."
Fair enough, man. If you've got the space and you can manage it, have at it.
Oh yeah. Last year, me and her fished Cayuga Lake with Slay Nation, and they had like 40 guys out there, and I think we finished in 4th and 7th place.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm crushing fish all day long. And I think she sat all day with 4 in her bag, just needing that 5th one.
Yep.
With about an hour left, this freaking yacht just like blows by her, just trucking, throws a wake right over her head. She's upset and mad. And she's like, "You know what? I'm going to pack it in. There's only an hour left." I was like, "That's fine. I don't want anyone getting angry or anything."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm just going to take one more cast, and she throws one right under my boat, and she catches the slob, man. I wish I had a photo to show you. It was 19 3/4 inches, but the thing had to have weighed 7 pounds. It was by far the biggest bass that I had ever laid my eyes on. Right under my boat. Rod bends over. I mean, I'm like telling her, "Stop freaking out. It's probably like a drum or a carp."
Yeah.
Out of the water, and I'm screaming like a schoolgirl, "Get that thing in the boat. Don't lose it. Don't lose it." But that was the fish that she needed. She ended up getting big fish on the day, and
good for her.
Brought her all the way up to the 7th, and she'll never let me forget the day she beat me.
Now, was that her PB?
No, I beat her still technically, but she got the biggest fish, and she'll never let me forget.
Oh no, of course, no, they never will. But was that 19 3/4? Was that her PB?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
What an absolute tank to come in at a weight like that. That's awesome, man. I've never fished Cayuga. I'm pretty sure Sean has, but I've heard that some of those wreck boats can be a major pain in the ass up in that body of water. Yeah, I mean that goes. There's lakes around here that are just like that. Winnipesaukee like that. Champlain can be like that. Big water. Candlewood's like that too.
Yeah,
it's been
horrible for it. They just have so many tourist boats, and people are doing like 70 knots right past you. It's like, holy cow, man.
Yeah, it's like slow down, slow your roll, guys. Calm down. It's not a race. It's not a race. Calm down. That's freaking awesome, man. I mean, the fact that that's my ultimate goal right there. I'm trying so hard to give the outdoors experience to my wife in small doses. And this year, actually, oddly, she seems way more receptive to it than anything else. And I've asked her multiple times, and I know it's just because it's too cold. I'm like, "Hey, you want to go bank fish with me? Yeah, we'll go see if we catch anything, And it's probably not the right time of year to try to get her out, but I'm just like throwing it out there. And every time she's like, "Yeah, it's just a little too cold. I'm not going out in this cold. This sucks. It's too windy. You go ahead, have fun." But I am getting her into the idea of camping this summer.
Okay.
And that's kind of a start. Ideally, I've got my Titan, which I love, and I'm going to put her in that, and then I'm going to take out my old Ascend 128T and sit in that boat. And that's my ultimate goal is if I can get her in the kayak, that's the win right there. If I think that'll really kind of like unlock the passion for fishing being off the bank. I think that'll be a huge deal.
I agree with you. I agree with you. When I started my guide service, I had a little center console Boston Whaler.
Yep.
And things were okay. Things were all right. But COVID hit, and New York State put a real clamp on boat charters in the state.
Yeah.
So I sold Whaler and got these kayaks, and everybody said, "You're crazy. Why are you doing that?" And even my wife said it. I don't think she fully supported the thought of it at first. But then she got in there to float the river and realized, holy cow, we have 1,000 places just like this, and boats can't get here. We couldn't even get it muddy water with our boat. And the piece she found, I think, just paddling, sold her on it. And then the fishing came later. And after she caught that huge bass out on Cayuga, I mean, she just wants to keep it. We're already signed up for 13 tournaments this year, just as a team. Gonna just go crush stuff.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, you're living the dream right there, AJ. I'm psyched for you. This is great. Yeah, good for you, dude. Well, this has been absolutely awesome, man. You guys got all of AJ's info there. Go check out his charter and guide services. Also check out the custom rods as well. Make sure to follow him on social media. This is absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, Andrew. We appreciate you, and we're definitely going to be getting out on the water with you. Whether it's open water or hard water, it's happening. I'm saying it now. Sean, Joe.
It's happening. Get ready.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Talking to you.
Awesome, man. Thank you. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right, brother. Chat.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh boy, guys. Amazing to have AJ on and talk about his entire insanity that he's got going on in upstate New York. Like, he's bringing it to the next level. He is a guy who is fully aware of the amazing environment that he's got and the potential to do really, really great things. I think some of his charter trips could be amazing. I especially am interested in the ice village idea he's got lined up. I think that could be a whole lot of fun. Unbelievable. Chrissy Fishing just chimed in. She says, just sent you a message, the FTG on Instagram with pics. I love an FTG with pics. This might be we might elevate to a whole new level. This could be great.
Sounds like next week's show is going to be awesome. We got the FTG lined up.
Yeah.
We got pictures of it. Jeez Louise.
Perfect. We're going good. It's going to be awesome. But this week I kind of want to go, and I asked some trivia teams. I said, listen, guys, I know some of these teams do listen to Jigs and Bigs, even though it's not a trivia kind of thing or anything like that. Some people actually are like, they are entertained by the show, and I think that's awesome. So what I want to do is talk a little bit about my week, and I said, if I did like a retrospective, like I looked back at the past week of events and stuff and kind of talked about some stuff here and there. Now what I want to do is I'm gonna mention this, and then if anybody kind of catches something that maybe I missed out on or anything, go ahead and let me know. Like, let me know what was up. So Monday we started up. It was actually like Monday was just a crazy day. I started my day at the dentist. I've been having this procedure done, a deep clean with like this laser treatment on my gums to try to like generate like, healthier gums and all of this stuff. So I've been doing some shit. I was at the dentist, and I was, I'm sitting there, and it's like a 90-minute procedure for one side of your mouth. So this is the last one. I'm there, and I'm listening to the terrible music that they have lined up. And that was my inspiration for the music round this week. So I took 10 different songs that I heard in succession, and I put them down on my notes app. And then I came home and made a playlist. And that was great. Monday, I rolled in. We were over at Rumble Seat in Chicopee. Good stuff over there. I was a little bit nervous. Like, it really seemed very quiet over there when I got there. I ended up with about 12 or 14 teams. It was a pretty good turnout. Had a whole lot of fun. We had some doozy of just dumb answers. Some stuff was just absolutely nuts. There's one team that has played now twice in a week. They definitely probably won't listen. But what are they called? What's the name of them? The Pitch Bitches, I think, is what they're called. They go there for Pitch Club, and actually they were playing from the other room, buzzing in, and they gave a couple of answers that were just no-goes. Tuesday was an interesting one, because Tuesday, again, I brought the same music round out, the brand new general knowledge questions, and I'm having a good conversation with the manager, and everything's good. Team signs in, and they call themselves Roast Beef Sheets. Right now, my name is Bobby Roast Beef. I use it professionally. When people like to take that name and like take it to that level, I like to go ahead and straighten them out a little bit. So what I did was I waited. I was like, I want this team to put themselves on blast with a buzz in, or yeah, it was during the buzz-in round. So I asked a general knowledge question. A dude buzzes in, and I think he ultimately got the question wrong too. But he buzzes in, and he says, I get the answer from him. I do the whole thing and everything, and I don't leave the table. Lots of times I start walking my way back around. I'm standing there. I don't leave the table, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I award the points, whatever. And I was like, and while I'm here, I just want to take a quick moment to go ahead and verify the nomenclature, the language used here. It isn't roast beef. No, he put roast beef curtains is what the team name was. He put roast beef curtains. I said, no. It's roast beef sheets. It's
ham curtains.
Very, very distinct sort of change in the vernacular, right? You get roast beef and sheets, but you get ham curtains. So we straightened that out. He was good. Ironically, this was the only team in the entire place that had a kid at the table. So it was like, oh, we're going there. So it was Tuesday. Wednesday was a really, really good game. It's very competitive at Nathan Bill's. Really close too, I think at the end. It was pretty freaking nuts. Thursday night was bananas. Thursday night. So this is kind of crazy. I'm going to give you guys the breakdown of what I played from music. So Thursday night, I am in Platform Sports Bar. And there we go. This is it. So I'm in Platform Sports Bar. I walk in, and there's like another event. Like somebody had made a reservation. They put a couple tables together. They had a buffet going. There was a cake. Like it was some kind of like a birthday thing or something. And it was a bunch of folks that were probably in their like early 50s to like early 60s, somewhere in that window. And they're there doing their thing. And I say to one of the servers that's working, I was like, hey, what are we going to do about these guys with trivia? Because we get 30 or 40 teams some nights up there. It's crazy. And then she says to me, I think the general consensus is we're supposed to seat people around them. I'm like, well, good luck. So I get one of the managers comes up and says, hey, can you play some like really, really loud metal or maybe some really, really like abrasive, like dirty hip hop or something like that. I was like, I got you. Don't worry about it. No, they had already started playing like a metal channel on their house music, something like that. Cause they're just trying to push this party along, I said, okay, no problem. This is what I played. I started out with Slipknot, Psychosocial. I followed it with Hatebreed's I Will Be Heard. You're going to love this, Sean, Rivers of Nile, The Silent Life. That song had multiple people come up to me and say, oh, what is this? This is amazing. One of which is a guy who actually plays saxophone and is like, this is amazing. I then followed up with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion on WAP. I then went to Lamb of God and Creator on State of Unrest. I then played a song by a group called Renegade Rail, and it's called Fat Girls and Weed. Let me just go ahead and play that. Fat Girls and Weed. This song had people like, we had a team name that was called Fat Girls and Weed. It just inspired folks. A lot of people had never heard it. Where do we go after that? Fat Girls and Weed. Oh, a classic from Wheeler Walker Jr., Eatin' Pussy and Kickin' Ass. I then followed it with the Dead Milkmen, Bitchin' Camaro. Chop Suey's System of a Down, Holy Diver from Killswitch Engage, Metallica's Whiplash, Slipknot's Custer, Papa Roach, Last Resort. That was the last one. It took them until the beginning of round 2 to actually leave. I could not believe it.
Wow.
It was insane. I was like, holy shit. I thought Bitchin' Camaro was going to do it because there's that whole part where like in Bitchin' Camaro, they're like, love me 2 times, babes. It's easier because I've got AIDS or some shit like that. That's not, have you ever heard Bitchin' Camaro? It's a fun little song.
I have.
You've heard the Dead Milkmen though, right? Punk Rock Girl? Yeah, of course. Everybody knows that. Bitchin' Camaro is like that next song. I think if there was a single, I'll bet you it's the flip side to it. But Unbelievable. So there was that. The game went on unbelievably. There was a birthday that night. One of the teams I talk about every so often, the Horny Leprechauns.
They were back.
They've been back every single Thursday. I've never shook them. They're a staple now, and they're great dudes. I appreciate them coming out. But it was Dan's birthday, and Dan had sent me. He said, "Yeah, he's like, my birthday is coming up. It's the last week of the month, so they got a 25-point bonus, because of the birthday. I think there was another birthday there that night too. They got a bonus as well. And then he asked me, he's like, "Hey, can you play a song for me at some point in the night?" The name of the band for this song he wanted me to play is called Passenger of Shit. Let me repeat that.
Passenger of Shit.
And this song is called
Staple Tape Worms on My Penis.
I'm not making this up. Should I give you a sample?
Fire it up.
I'll give you a sample. Yeah. It was an interesting night. I'm telling you. My night ended at the end of the night. I had a team that didn't play that night. They actually won the previous week when I did dirty speed quizzing. They had won. They're like, we're going to take next week off. We actually have like a psychic reading thing to go to. And I'm not going to divulge their private information, but they did this psychic reading in front of like 30 other fucking people. And like in their group, they had like coworkers and people they weren't like super close with. And like this medium, I'm fairly certain fucking stole their identity. I am pretty fucking sure. I was like, you guys go home and change every fucking password you have. I want you to order new credit cards, like everything. I'm like, because like he was telling them shit that like we've had conversations about. And I'm like, what the fuck? Really? I don't buy this shit at all. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah. You go make sure that there wasn't like, you didn't have to, I mean, they bought these tickets months in advance. I was like, you guys go and set your social media on private for a little while. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm like, Jesus, I don't know what's going on, but it was kind of crazy. Then as I'm packing up the end of my gear, there's this one team that's awesome. It was actually the saxophone guy is one of these groups. And they were having this crazy conversation. And daddy's or grandpa's sleepy medicine was starting to kick in. And I was just shocked. I was blown away. I was like, what? And at one point, I think they were kind of making fun of one of the girls on this team, her feet, like the way her toes line up side by side. So she takes her feet out of her shoes and puts her socks right up on the table, which is like fucking, okay, whatever. It's crazy. It's an empty bar. I get it. And then like, I'm just puzzled. And I think they were busting her chops about her feet. Like, and I think she was really upset. And I hope my confused reaction didn't line up with like her assuming I was like in on the conversation or anything. So it was a little fucking awkward. But the best night was Friday. Because Friday nights are generally a little bit more of like an intimate game. More times than not, I really know everybody who's there. We didn't have the Hendos in the house, right? So they weren't there. We had Joe Mama there. And we had this big table of folks that didn't play. I think there were like 8 of them. Like they were at the table that normally, Sean, that normally you're at. It's like, it's like an 8-person table. It's huge. So they were over there. And then we had 2 teams at this one table. One is the daughter and like, I don't know if it's a cousin or an aunt or somebody. And then the parents play as a team called Make Trivia Great Again. They were killing it. And it's not normal for them to kill it. Like they were killing this game. And it was so close at the end. And then the very last question I had now, the team, the girls, that aunt or cousin or whomever, she had left. And it was just their daughter that was playing. She got that last question, which is a fast track opportunity. It sent her to first place, kicking mom and dad to third from second. I forget who got booted out. Might have been Christopher Walken got booted out. I forget exactly how it played out, but it was majestic. It was so unbelievable. In fact, I want to read you guys the question that she got because it was a little fucking cringy too. like just a little bit. What was this? The 31st. Yes. The last question is this. So, in modern slang, what is the ick? The options were alcohol, your parents, your job, or is it a sexual turnoff? What do you guys think?
Joe, what do you think? I already discussed this with Bobby.
I think it's sexual turnoff.
And Sean, I think, isn't that what you chose too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a sexual turnoff, but nobody else in the room knew that except for that one team's daughter. And it's sent to the first place. They were so proud and they were so happy. So they left that out that night with 2 gift cards. And I forget, who was it that took center place? Oh, second place went to Joe Mama. That's what it was. Yeah, Joe Mama had gotten a fast track earlier. They were in first place, and then they got pushed down. It was a wild game, and it was so close. So unbelievably close. But like an amazing week. I love those kinds of weeks for trivia. They just make me happy, you know?
Yeah.
And I would love
man.
I would love to do a fucking Jigs and Bigs trivia night. Like really fucking make the worlds just like boom, you know?
As long as I don't have tournaments and or something else going on, I'm usually there once a week, depending on my schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
I learned last year, if I have a tournament on a Saturday, I'm not going to be at the Friday night trivia. It's just not right.
Like, yeah, especially if you have any, like, you got to be there so early as a director. Like, it's tough. It's not like you can just roll and drop your boat and fish, you know?
Correct.
You got more shit.
Hell, I tried that Saturday. It didn't work out so well. There were so many people there, but
you know that team, the hell are they named? They have the Jerky Boys, like, it's like Bad Chipmunk. That's the name of the team.
Yes.
Well, they keep asking me. They're like, well, they know that I fish in a kayak. So they're like, oh, it'd be cool if you could do like speed quizzing and a bunch of people like floating on kayaks. It'd be awesome, man. You know, it'd be great. You could do this. I'm like, I don't know that it's a good idea. Like, you know, I really don't. It'd be interesting, but I think that there's a lot that could go really, really wrong with it too. Like the buzzing round. I'd be like, all right, cool. I got to pedal over to where they are, you know, and I'd have to figure out how to hold my laptop, which is dangerous. That could be bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anybody else got anything else they want to throw in there before we wrap up?
Before we wrap up our fucking 4.5 hour show.
This is a big show tonight. It really was. Really, really big show.
That's all right.
It happens. You know, we're born with them. I know one human being that's going to be happy. Roadkill Nick.
Oh, God.
Roadkill Nick.
He's going to edge his way through this show.
He does. He's going to edge all the way through it. He downloads that episode. I think he works, I don't know if he works overnights, but I think he listens immediately when it drops late Monday night and goes all the way through. He's like, if I can make it through like half a work shift and listen to that show, he's like, oh yeah, I'm good. Sets me up for success.
Success!
That's right.
I love it. All right, guys, that's going to do it from us. Appreciate you tuning in and listening. Remember, you can always check out jigsandbigs.com. Check us out on Instagram. We appreciate each and every one of you. Also, remember, give us a review or a rating, whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple. You know, that goes a long way to really, really help us out. Want to say thank you to our jig heads. If you're interested in becoming a jig head, go to jigsandbigs.com. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, for another amazing episode here of Jigs and Bigs. And we will see you in 7 days with more insanity and things to complain about. I'm all about it. Have yourselves a good one, everybody. Remember, like we always say,
tits and ass, smoke some grass.